Our employees find the products that we carry. Our employees make the calls to set up the relationships with brands. Our employees analyze the products, place the orders, have those products shipped to our prep center who ships it to Amazon. So my day-to-day role
that's crazy.
is actually nothing.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com. Coming back to you with another video here with Mr. Dan Metters of the Wholesale Formula. Dan, he started his business way back in his college days selling on eBay, ended up transitioning years later to Amazon and retail arbitrage, and you had scaled that business up to almost about $1 million, right, at one point or another. And since then, he's gone on to build a profitable Amazon wholesale business. You've done over $22 million in sales. And it's great to have you here, man. In this video, we're gonna be talking about how to make passive income with a wholesale business. So first and foremost, let's define passive income. And is it even possible to make passive income with a wholesale business on Amazon?
Sure. Well, here's how I think there are varying degrees of passive, right? Like you're something completely passive. That just means that I don't have any direct input at all for the output that comes back, right?
Right. But you always have to have some input eventually.
Sure. And that's where that's what this wholesale model is. It's not completely passive. Like there is some level of involvement, but the amount of involvement doesn't equal the output, right? Like I can put this much effort in and realize this much reward. And that's what I call semi-passive.
Got it. And with showing the other side of the coin, like with eBay, your input is going out and sourcing the product, right?
Sure.
But you also have more input, such as listing the product, shipping the product, dealing with customer service, returns, all those things. And obviously there's ways that you can outsource that in an eBay business, and there's certainly some parallels with Amazon. Sure. But there are definitely a lot more advantages.
No, I mean, that's the thing is, every single aspect of our business is a process-oriented task, right? Like, so what I mean by that is, there's a defined way to do every single task in our business. Now, whenever you're able to create something like that, create a system where, there are defined tasks, what can I do with that? I can immediately pass it off to somebody else, right? So, for example, whenever we started our business, I packed all of our orders and shipped all of our orders. I contacted brands. I found the products that we were going to carry. Like I did every single thing in the business, right? But over time, so like the first thing that went for us was we stopped packing our own orders and we hired a warehouse. We had our warehouse. We started hiring employees to pack those orders. And that what that did is it immediately gave me more time to focus on other aspects of the business. So I took that time and I developed better sourcing strategies. Now better, not only that, but more defined strategies. Because ultimately where employees fail is in that ambiguity, right? Like they just don't know what to do exactly. So what we wanted to do is we wanted to streamline that process so an employee could literally come in, sit down, and immediately start doing their job. I wanted to make it so simple that a 7-year-old could do it. So over time, we were able to develop out and iron out those processes. And guess what? I'm able to fire myself again from that position. Now what do? I look at financials, right? And then over time, we hire a bookkeeper. And then guess what? I don't really have an active role in the business anymore. Then we took out that we still had that managerial role, right, with our warehouse. Well, over the course of time, we figured out that, warehouse isn't what we need to be. Like, it's just not part of our ethos. It's not part of the value that we're adding to brands. Like, my ability to change a listing on Amazon and help a brand has nothing to do with my ability to package and ship a product. So what we did is we went out and we found a prep center. Now, the prep center, what they do is they receive our products, they package them, get them ready for Amazon, and ship them to Amazon for us. So now our business, after we fired ourselves from all of those positions, right? So now our business, how does it operate? Our employees find the products that we carry. Our employees make the calls to set up the relationships with brands. Our employees analyze the products, place the orders, have those products shipped to our prep center who ships it to Amazon. So my day-to-day role
that's crazy.
is actually nothing. Like, my role in our business is once a week, we have a meeting with our team and we go over, what's working, what they're actively working on, projects that they're moving forward with, and look at the financials. But past that, like everything else is just being done in the business. Yeah. My role is actually just a coach in that business.
Wow. That's really cool. That's amazing. And that's one of the opportunities that you have with an Amazon business, and particularly a wholesale business model. It's really cool, man. And the craziest thing is, like, you've gone through all of these struggles. You've gone through from packing the orders to sourcing the products to to doing the whole entire process A to Z, and then you got rid of the warehouse, you got the prep center working for you, you started hiring staff. So is it possible to make passive income with a wholesale business? Absolutely it is, but you've got to understand that passive income doesn't mean you're going to just sit back on the beach and do nothing. You're still going to have to manage employees. You're still going to have to check up on things and put systems in place and always be consistently evolving and improving things, because what you don't pay attention to is going to eventually die.
Sure, and that's that is our role in the business. It's to make sure things don't die, to make sure to coach our employees, to make sure to keep them motivated and things like that. But by doing those things, it makes my business grow without me putting any extra time in.
Wow.
And that's what passive is, right? It's the ability to have leverage without having to commit more time. And that's our business in a vacuum is. I don't have to commit more time, but I'm consistently growing, adding new accounts, adding new lines, adding profits without having to commit more time from me.
So what advice, Dan, would you give to the people watching right now who want to learn more about wholesale and getting started and making passive income or semi-passive income with wholesale, or just getting started making money with it?
No, I think really, if your goal is to develop a business that works for you, to develop a business that creates real freedom in your life, you have to start with that in mind, right? You have to start with that objective, and that's starting with systems. Even though you're the only person doing your system, guess what? Defining what those processes are makes it easier to hand off, so you can get employees to start engaging in those processes and start growing your business without you. So that would be the advice I would start with is whenever you're getting started, start thinking about systems, start thinking about outsourcing from day one, and start building the business you want, not the business you feel like you have to build.
Awesome. Great advice. So if you guys want to learn more about this as well, be sure to check out the Wholesale 101 guide. Yep. They've got a free, 100% free guide. I'll put a link to that down below in the description. If you're having any trouble sourcing your first product and figuring out like the criteria, what you should be looking for, Dan also put together another free guide as well. So that's 2 guides in the description for you guys. Definitely be sure to check that out. And if you haven't seen any of our previous videos that we recorded, we did a whole entire video on product sourcing. Yep. We did a whole entire video on why you should get into wholesale and some of the benefits of it. And also we shared Dan's entire story of how he went from 0 to 22 million in sales. So definitely be sure to check that out. But with that being said, keep on picking and making that money, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace. What's going on, everybody? Steve here, Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com, coming back to you with another video. And today we are joined by my good friend Dan Metters. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Pretty good. How are you, brother?
Doing awesome. So Dan actually runs a wholesale business, and he started back in 2014 with only $600, and you were actually doing retail arbitrage and thrifting and hitting up Walmarts and Targets and all that stuff. And now, 2019, in about 5 years, he's gone from $600 investment to then transitioning over to wholesale and doing over $20 million in sales. So I'm really excited to chat with you kind of about your story a little bit. But also, a lot of the people who are watching right now are selling on eBay, or they're thrifters, they're hitting garage sales and Goodwills and Savers.
Treasure finders.
Pretty much. But the thing is, a lot of people are wanting to get into more scalable business models. And most of my followers, they're making $500, $1,000, upwards of $2,000 to $5,000 a month. Some are doing $10,000 a month or more, but they're having to scale to warehouses and hiring a lot of employees. And people are very interested in business models such as wholesale, but there's definitely some pros and cons when it comes to wholesale versus eBay. And we're gonna be kind of playing good cop, bad cop here, because there's gonna be some things where I'm gonna be coming against you, I don't really know. And then you're gonna be saying, but Steve, this is why wholesale's better. And I'm like, this is why eBay's better. So
absolutely. Let's
kind of jump into it. I do wanna say before this video gets started, we actually put together this free little wholesale Amazon quick guide. And essentially what it is you can get access to 50 wholesale distributors that you could actually call up and start literally pick up the phone and start sourcing these deals. And also we have a little quick start guide that'll help you to pretty much start your business, learn about LLCs and all of that. It's 100% free. So you can check that out at the link down below at RaikenProfit.com/wholesale videos. But yeah, if you're ready to rock and roll, you want to get into this battle?
Let's do it. Let's see who's better, eBay or Amazon.
So here's one thing that I love about eBay over wholesale. You can get in with a very minimal investment. You could get started with eBay with what? Free. You could just start going around your house and picking up different things, chairs, furniture, electronics, blenders, old clothing, and you could get into an eBay business dirt cheap.
I mean,
you know what I mean? Like wholesale, what do you need? At least a couple thousand, I would assume.
Exactly. I mean, to get started with Amazon Wholesale, we suggest having $2,000 to $3,000. So there is literally no way that I can say that the investment level is lower for Amazon. So one for eBay, but like that's the thing is like if you want to get started, that's a great way to get started is eBay. Is just get on there, get your hustle on, and make some money.
So I would say like, and I don't know what your thoughts are. Let's just say somebody's watching, they only have $500 to their name, assets and all. Wholesale or eBay?
No, I mean at that point I would literally say go to eBay. Like and it's go to eBay, make some money, then get into wholesale because I feel like wholesale's the better model overall, but it's definitely easier to get in.
You're gonna smoke me on reason number 2 right now, and I already know it. Scalability and automation. So you can definitely scale an eBay business, and you can definitely automate it to an extent. But I believe, and I really feel wholesale is like a whole different thing.
Oh, it's not that aspect's not really that close. I mean, with eBay, it's very active, right? Like you're always doing the work. You got to go find the product. You got to list the product. You got to write the description. You got to write the titles. You got to do all this stuff, take pictures and things like that. So your margins are gigantic, but they have to be to support all that work. Whereas with Amazon, like one of the things that we do is we're able to. It's process driven. It's completely process driven. So once we are able to hammer out a process, we're able to literally hand that off to somebody else or outsource a duty and continue to grow our business without doing more work. And that's where I feel like it really kind of, there's a big separation between your traditional eBay business and Amazon wholesale is it's just able to be grown so much farther, so much faster.
So I actually got my mother started thrifting. She goes to Goodwill, Savers, different local library sales and stuff. She buys books and sells them on Amazon. And she's been stuck at this number, right? She usually makes anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a month profit. And while she is able to scale and kind of automate her business just because the FBA program over eBay, like FBA, you just send all your stuff to them and it, you know what I mean? But the biggest bottleneck for her with the scalability and automation is she can't find enough product because she's having to go to Goodwill and Savers and compete with 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And there's only so much inventory that's going out there. So, definitely one of the bottlenecks and one of the cons to eBay is you've got to constantly go out there and fetch the bone and bring it back, go outsource, bring it back, go outsource again. Because if you're not outsourcing, you're not
making any money.
Yeah, and with wholesale, you kind of lock the deals down with the distributors, with your suppliers. Once you get a good thing going,
you're able to constantly reorder. And that's a big difference is, and I'm not going out to find the next bone. Instead, I'm going out to find another bone to put in my pile. And that's why, that's why it is more scalable.
Yeah. Let's talk about the pros and cons, eBay versus wholesale in terms of liability, getting in trouble, getting kicked off and whatnot. A big thing that, Amazon sellers that aren't wholesale are dealing with is brand restrictions and different things like, for example, if you're sourcing from like Target or Walmart and you get some type of claim or whatever, infringement, they want you to prove it, but a lot of times they won't even accept the receipts.
I mean, that's honestly, that was, whenever we were doing retail arbitrage, that was not a complication that we encountered. That wasn't as popular as it is now, so I don't even know as a retail arbitrage seller how I would deal with it.
Yeah.
But with wholesale, that's one of the huge benefits of it is that we have the best possible invoices. We are literally authorized retailers for every single brand and product we carry. So if we have a claim, we can go to the manufacturer and ask them, hey, can you give us another invoice or can you give us a letter that says we're an authorized manufacturer and all of our products are authentic? And we're able to clear up those claims immediately and get right back to selling our products. So as far as liability, I mean, I think Amazon is significant. Amazon specifically, Amazon wholesale.
Yeah, wholesale versus RA. I went with RA versus wholesale because on eBay there's not a ton of liability. There is something called Vero, V-E-R-O, and that's a program. I'm not exactly sure what it is, but it's kind of like a program they have in line to protect the brands on eBay. So like if you're drop shipping on eBay, a lot of times you can't drop ship certain items because of the Vero protection and you can get kicked off, suspended and whatnot. So I would say the liability on eBay isn't too bad unless you're drop shipping, but what I love most about the wholesale is having that straight up invoice, that invoice from the manufacturer, because that's what they want.
I mean, we could call that one a push, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a lot of liability. We don't have any, but it's you don't encounter it.
Let's talk about one that I think us eBay sellers, man, I think we got you on this. Having fun. I would say going out, hitting thrift stores, right? Going to garage sales, like treasure hunting. That seems like a lot more fun than like being behind a computer and calling up wholesale suppliers. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I mean, it's not close. I remember the days that we were doing We were out there doing retail arbitrage and thrifting and stuff like that. There is literally nothing more fun than finding that little brick of gold or whatever, just that item where your margin's exponential and you know it's going to sell. Like there is nothing that I have that can compete with the fun of finding an awesome item.
Is there anything fun about wholesale? Like, are there any fun aspects to it? Maybe like helping the brands or?
For sure. No, I mean, it definitely has its levels of joy. Like whenever you find a new product and get a new account, you realize that account's going to generate a lot of profit over time. You're also going to be able to work and develop relationships with the people inside that company and see change at a scaled level. So like there are definitely levels of enjoyment, but it's not quite as fun as going in there and being a treasure hunter. Like that's whenever I'm out thrifting, that's what I think about is I feel like a treasure hunter.
Because a lot of people say they're like, I don't want to start private label. I don't want to start Shopify or wholesale because then I'm going to might as well be working a normal job. Like I'm not having fun anymore. And there's some people who they really, truly value that. And I tell you, if you value just the fun and the treasure hunt, don't stop what you're doing. Don't start doing wholesale. Don't start doing private label. If you love what you do, who cares about money? But if you're in a position where maybe you have children or you're looking to pay for their college tuition or you want to travel or you need more money, you want to get into real estate like I am, you need the capital to do the things that you want to do. And that leads into the next thing is income potential. If we were to compare income potential overall, like revenue, we're not talking profit margins now, but would you say that it's easier to hit 7 figures per year on eBay or easier to hit 7 figures per year on wholesale? I would say wholesale. I'm going to just give you this one.
It's not even close. Like
unless you're drop shipping, because drop shipping you could definitely get there.
Right. But I think you do it with so much liability though. Yeah. That's the other problem is when you're doing it with drop shipping, your margins are very tiny. Plus, typically you're doing it with a ton of liability. Like you said, even with the Vero program, you're easily kicked off. And same thing's true with Amazon. You can't control your metrics, so they do struggle a lot. As far as as far as the income potential with Amazon wholesale, it is just astronomically
Amazon in
higher.
general, like let's not even talk wholesale. RA, anything Amazon, I feel like the
more
potential's
customers.
And you could scale and automate much more, especially like if you're a merchant seller, it's a little different of a story. I would put merchant selling on Amazon and eBay somewhat in the same category, but once you transition over to FBA,
you're able to grow so much faster. And it's the same concept we were talking about earlier. It's like whenever you stop doing stuff, right? Like whenever you're able to remove that part of your business, you're able to outsource it. It just becomes so much faster. And that's what FBA offers. It offers scale in that.
Yeah. So you definitely smoked us eBay sellers on that one. But I'm going to tell you right now, I got you guys. We're going to smoke you on this one. Profit margins.
Oh, Lord.
You are not going to compete with our profit margins.
No, you've been telling me some of these crazy stories about Mama Profit's profit, and it's just astronomical. And I remember some of the days, like whenever we would go find that $10 book or $5 book that we would sell. I remember the best one I've ever remember was a bird book. It's some book about birds that we paid $5 for.
The weird niches do so well.
And we sold that thing for $150. Like, there's nothing in wholesale that I'm going to be able to sell to generate those types of margins. But, the value of wholesale for us is not the margins necessarily, it's the volume and velocity at which we're able to sell products. So overall, like that's where we make our comeback is we're not trying to sell everything and make 150%. Instead, I want to make 20, 30% 100 times.
Yeah. One of the things, and if you guys have been following me in my journey over the last 5 or 6 years, you notice that I have kind of transitioned. I still do eBay because I love it and I enjoy it. I'm always at the thrift stores, garage sales. I still sell books. I do it because I love it. Sure. But I've kind of transitioned into other business models a little bit more because I travel a lot. Like I'm always traveling. Right now,
you're in Corbin.
I'm in Corbin, Kentucky right now. I literally just got back from Florida for a mastermind. I was at another mastermind in California. I'm going to be traveling in March. So I'm all over the place. And it's just, that's what I like to do, right? And whatever you like to do, you got to follow your passion and then mold your life to it. So for someone like me, I'm always traveling. I'm always on the road. And unfortunately, I didn't really want to have a warehouse with eBay, with like workers and all the liability and stuff. That just wasn't for me. So I've been kind of forced to transition to other business models that allow me to travel. And that's, in terms of like ability to travel, eBay versus wholesale, we're getting our butt kicked on this one.
Oh, for sure. And it's, that's one of the things that we've even kind of taken that to the next level. Like, whenever you're just doing FBA versus, shipping your orders yourself like you would on eBay.
It's a game changer.
It's a game changer. Yeah. Like your ability to scale and grow and be able to have more free time goes up exponentially. But we've kind of taken that to the next level. Like we utilize prep centers now. So we don't ever touch. I've
Look into
literally
prep
not
centers.
touched a single product that we sell in probably 6 months to a
You
year
guys used to
now.
have a big warehouse, right?
Yep, we used to have a warehouse. We decided that it didn't fit our model. It didn't fit the life that we wanted to create and live. So we got rid of our warehouse and outsourced everything to a prep center now. Like, there's literally no limitation on where we are or what we're doing because our business is completely virtual at this point.
Yeah, because with Amazon, it's there's kind of like two sides of the coin. There's the after you obviously source the product, and with wholesale, you can do it just by picking up a phone and then building a relationship and a deal with a supplier. But you can't automate it directly from like when you strike that deal, the person on the phone isn't going to ship it right to Amazon to you. It's got to either come to you and process it, or like you were saying,
Go to that prep center.
it can hit a prep center. And what a prep center essentially does is they prepare your items. Certain glass items or certain items require even toys. You got to polybag them. You got to, I don't know, whatever you got to do.
Whatever you gotta do
Bubble
to 'em.
wrap them, do
Right.
different things to protect it. You got to label things. You got to ship it in. You got to put everything in the box, ship it out. There's a whole process. So even if you're selling on Amazon FBA, there still is an element where you have to touch the product unless you utilize the prep centers. By doing the prep centers and having the fulfillment centers fulfilling your orders, picking, packing, shipping, customer service, you can travel.
Sure.
You can do whatever you want.
Exactly, and that's the point,
work.
right?
Yeah.
Like it's that's the thing is all the work we do in wholesale now is all done from a computer or a phone. Like I don't have to be in any specific physical location to do anything anymore. And that's I think that's one of the most incredible aspects of the model is it gave us that additional freedom that we wanted.
Yeah. And the last thing that I want to talk about, and really the goal is I wanted to kind of break down all the different pillars of like what makes up eBay versus wholesale, like how to choose the best route, because there's so many models. At the end of the day, Dan, let's just be real. Like you could be successful on eBay if you wanted to. You could
Absolutely.
be successful on Amazon. You could be successful on Etsy. You could be successful on whatever, having your own store. I know people who sell off of Instagram only. They sell off of YouTube only. They build their brand off that platform.
Facebook's the thing now.
Facebook. You could be successful on any of these platforms, but what you need to take the time to do is to choose what's going to be the best business model for me based on my goals, my desires, my aspirations. What, do I travel or do I not travel? Do I enjoy working with people? Do I want to have my own space because I've always had this dream of having a big warehouse and showing up and having my sign, on the so there's no right or wrong way to do it, but that's what we're trying to do is break down all the different elements to decide like what's best for you. And I guess the last thing is barrier to entry, right? Some people don't want to do a million different steps in order to get into the business. They just want to get started right now and just jump right into it. And I would say with eBay, it's a very low barrier to entry. Anybody can do it. I would say against wholesale, you're going to have a lot more things you're going to have to probably do. Maybe you could, touch on that a little bit.
It definitely is like, with wholesale, you definitely need a business. Like you have to have a business to be able to start buying
eBay,
products wholesale. You don't have to do that with eBay. But once you have that in place, like here's the thing is I somewhat like that barrier to entry because it creates a longer sustainability, right? Like if anybody can come into the market and start doing
less competition.
Exactly. And that's one of the things is the barrier to entry is higher in Amazon, and I think I would concede that point all day. But I think the barrier to entry being higher definitely creates a little less competition, definitely gives us a little more flexibility on what we're able to sell and how we're able to sell it.
Yeah. Awesome. So hopefully that helped kind of build awareness around eBay and wholesale. And we wanted to do kind of like a creative video to kind of share with you the good and the bad, the wins, losses, the pros and the cons for each one. So if you enjoyed this video, do us a big favor and smash that like button, leave a comment down below, let us know where you're from. Also let us know, are you or have you ever sold wholesale on Amazon, or are you only selling on eBay? Do you have aspirations of selling on Amazon? I definitely recommend that you should do it.
Sure.
And we got a lot of videos that are coming up in the future. So if you want to see more videos, definitely join the email list down below. And just for jumping on the email list, you'll be notified of more videos. Plus, you're going to get that quick startup wholesale guide that's going to teach you pretty much how to start a business, the LLC, all the boring stuff that nobody wants to go through, but it's so important. Plus, we're going to give you a list of 50 of the top wholesale distributors that you could start calling and get in contact with. You can just have that list ready for when you go through the rest of our videos and whatnot. So definitely stay tuned for that. We appreciate you guys. Thanks so much for watching. And hey,
absolutely,
appreciate you being on. And we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Looking at things like, okay, people who bought we talked about Leap pads earlier. People who bought the Leap pad also bought the headphones and the case. That's a match made in heaven. Amazon basically told you what bundle to make. You want to look for those things and start to make it more convenient for your customer to be able to make a bundle for them, because time is money, money is time, and people want to save both.
What's going on, everybody, on YouTube and iTunes? Steve Raiken here with episode number 20 of the Raiken Profit Show. Today we have Kristen with mommyincome.com, and we're going to be talking about her life as a stay-at-home mom and how she did over $500,000 so far in 2017 selling on Amazon. And she specializes in wholesale bundles, which is really, really exciting. So I want to welcome you, Kristen, to the show. And we've been having a lot of fun, like the last 5 minutes talking before the show. So we're like, all right, we're going to just hit the freaking record button. We got to get this live right now. But what's going on? It's really, really nice to talk to you.
It's great to be here. I'm super excited. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, awesome. When did we meet? We met, I know it was at a conference. We were talking about it before. Was it like 5 years ago or so?
It was 2014, 2015, Baltimore, some e-commerce momentum, something. I don't know. It was a conference there in Baltimore. Yeah.
That's when I think I took a trip. That's Chris Green and we actually rode up there together, and I was able to meet Steven Peterson for the first time, and I met you, and all I remember is we were just like walking down the street talking Amazon, and it was like, I don't know, it was a lot of fun. But here we are again, and you've been making a lot of amazing moves behind the scenes. You definitely caught my attention and reached out to you on Instagram and everything. But yeah, let's talk about your story, kind of like who you are, how you got started in this business, and kind of share with my audience your story.
Awesome. Well, I've been working through e-commerce. I started on eBay back in 2003, basically to make ends meet. My husband has kind of a feast or famine job, and I had two small children with me, and I just started selling their stuff on eBay in order to, basically buy them new stuff. And so we started there, moved into Amazon, late 2008, early 2009. Just started with books, started with just trying to get my feet wet there because I heard about the opportunity. I'm like, oh, that sounds like fun. I can send stuff in and not have to send individual orders. So that was super fun. And so I started there, and I just kind of slowly inched my way up. A lot of people talk about, running in, jumping in, getting there, like $1 million sales or whatever. But we started slow because we had to live off the income. And so we started there, and I don't know how deep you want me to get into the story right this second, but
go all the way in.
All the way in. Okay, great. So a little bit more about us. So about 2010, I had my third child, who was about a week old, and my husband was injured at work and could not work. His shoulder was really messed up and he couldn't work. And so we basically lost all of our income. We still had this little Amazon business, but it wasn't paying the bills for a family of five. So we decided to kind of jump right in. He needed surgery, he needed physical therapy, and it was like, this is now or never. We have to make this Amazon thing work for us full time because we have no choice. And so we kind of went about that year. I had a newborn, I had two other kids. My husband was in and out of surgery and physical therapy, and we actually did as best we could to build our Amazon business, but with a family of five, it was really difficult. And we lost our home, actually, to foreclosure. Wow. And it was a horrible, horrible time, but we still believed that this Amazon FBA business could really work for us. We just had to keep moving and keep moving forward. And so, we've had people tell us, you'll never buy a house again, this is a tragedy and it was horrible and you'll have to rent forever. And we proved them wrong. We kept working on Amazon. My husband finally went back to work after about a year or so. It was sticky. It was a horrible time of life to remember. But we ended up buying a house less than a year later. And we've just been growing and growing and growing our Amazon business since then. And it's just been a whirlwind. It's been amazing.
All right. So that's freaking awesome. That's absolutely amazing that you were able to kind of grow your business and you were going through all the struggles and everything and you were able to come out of it. So congratulations on that. So now that you've been selling on Amazon for a while, one cool thing I like about you is you're actually sharing the wealth with other people and you've been kind of teaching all the different things that you do. And we're going to kind of talk about that. But before we do, how can people actually get a hold of you? How can people follow you? Because I know a lot of this, I don't know, I feel like this video is going to go viral because it's just freaking awesome. But like, where can people actually follow you on your journey and everything?
Well, we have a website where we teach different courses and do mentorship coaching packages. mommyincome.com, and on every social media that you can find, it's Mommy Income, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, if anybody ever still goes there. YouTube. Our YouTube channel has tons of videos and tons of free stuff. And so we built Mommy Income over the past, we started in 2014, and I say we because I started by myself for a while, and then I brought on a partner, Amy Fearman, who is fantastic. And we teach our show every single Monday night live, and then it goes on our YouTube and our podcast. So Mommy Income. The podcast is called the AZ Files, so you can find it there. But yeah, we've been sharing the wealth. Again, the thing is that the pie is big enough for everybody. Everyone can grab a piece of their Amazon pie, and it's fine. There's room for everybody to sell in different niches and different places. So I like to share because I didn't get where I was by myself. I learned from other people. I read Chris Green's book. I watched things on Scanner Monkey and talked to people and networked and went to conferences and just learned and soaked it all up. And I want to be able to help those who maybe feel hopeless. I mean, we felt hopeless at a time when, we lost our house, and single moms out there. I was able to retire my own mother from her job because she came to work for us, and we are Amazon business partners. So Mom and I do our whole FBA business together. She quit her job, and that the struggle is real, but the dream is real. And it's not just, it doesn't happen overnight. It's not all sunshines and rainbows, but it's possible and it's awesome.
That's really, really cool. So for anybody who wants to follow her, again, go check the links down below. I'm going to hook you guys up with all those different links. And one thing I want to mention as well is I actually go out thrifting a lot and going to garage sales with my mother. And I got her started selling books on Amazon about 4 years ago. And she was actually able to retire a couple years early and kind of take that Social Security, like that little pay cut, because now she's able to compensate with books. So it's awesome. Like, it's a great way to connect with loved ones and family members and stuff. So I really adore that, which is really cool. Kristen, let's talk about exactly what your business is all about right now, because obviously people know that you're selling on Amazon, and you mentioned a couple different things that you started off with. But can you kind of share like what your business is all about right now and the opportunity and whatnot?
For sure. So, we started typically like you did, garage sales, and we moved into retail arbitrage, buying stuff from retail stores, sending it into Amazon. And then we found wholesale, which worked really, really well for us. Went to a few trade shows, found some wholesale suppliers. But then we realized competition was kind of stiff in a lot of different categories, and it was taking a long time to find really decent stuff to sell on Amazon that didn't have 150 competitors. So we moved into making bundles, and we made bundles before when we did retail arbitrage. We did it with grocery items. We created variety packs and different things like that, and that was working for us in grocery. But we were trying to get out of grocery because it just seemed like such low margins and such a hustle. And as a mom of 3 kids, I don't always have time to do major, 80-hour-a-week hustles. I don't want to work that much. I like about 25 hours a week or so. It's about
I like
my
that
max.
too.
And that's about what we're working now with the 2 businesses that I have. So with the Mommy Income stuff and then the Amazon FBA business. And, we'll get to that because I don't want everybody to think that they're going to just jump in and work 25 hours a week. I paid my dues for a lot of years. But now we're doing mostly wholesale bundles. So wholesale bundles is buying from different wholesale suppliers and vendors and putting bundle packages together to make it more convenient for the customer to buy. So, a lot of people, we started in toys, when we started doing bundles, and we'd sell like, little toy sets with like a storage container that's perfect for fitting them in. Or, you sell an accessory pack to like a Leap Pad or something. You sell the headphones and you sell the case, and you kind of bundle things together to make competition less. So we created our own listings, took our own pictures or had pictures edited for us. And we are 95% wholesale bundles. And this has been our best year ever.
Wow, that's really cool. So when you're mentioning a bundle, like you said, you're taking 2 products, maybe 2 different toys, just as an example, and you're bundling them together, creating a new listing, and you're taking a picture. So now if that customer wants
the blue toy and the red toy, instead of having to buy separately, you could just buy it in one listing. Is that essentially what you're doing?
Yes, that's what it is. We're taking two different, two are complementary items together. So it could be a variety pack of, for example, like years ago it was a little bit easier to do. Now with brand restrictions, it's becoming more difficult. But for example, about 3 years back, even we were making bundles, 2, 3 years back, and we'd make like big Nerf guns. So you had like 2 Nerf guns plus 3 packages of darts and like a holster or something for it. And we put it all together because especially during Q4, people want to buy like all that stuff together. Grandma wants to send little Tommy like a big, huge set of something, and it's way easier to just buy a Nerf bundle than it is to buy individual items. So we started there and just kind of built from it, and now we do all of it from wholesale vendors and use a prep center, and it just takes a lot of the work out of it.
Is there anything legally that you have to worry about bundling up different brands? Like if you were to bundle up like Panasonic and Sony or something like that, or can you essentially do whatever you want on Amazon? How does that work?
There's rules. There's a lot of rules. I suggest people read the rules. In our wholesale bundles course, we go through all of the rules and policies and regulations because they can be pretty strict. For example, if you're restricted in a category, in the category that requires approval, you cannot sell in that category, or you can't take items from that category and sell it in a different category just because it's in a bundle. If Nike, for example, is restricted for a lot of people, you can't just take a bunch of Nike products and then put it in a different generalized category because that's a restricted brand. You have to be very clear if you're going to mix brands, like you mentioned Panasonic and Sony. If you're going to mix those brands together, you have to be very clear about what is what. So you could sell, a Sony DVD player with, a surround sound system from Panasonic, but you have to read the rules because each category has some different rules. So, I'm not going to get into all the rules here, but, basically you have to list in the category for the most expensive item. So that's one thing. And then the next thing is not mixing. People want to understand that they're getting a certain brand. They don't want to get like a generic, something else with it. A lot of people try to throw in random things. So, reading the rules and policies, they're all spelled out on Seller Central, and you just got to be very aware of the policies.
This is really, really cool because, and I mentioned it before the show, like I've interviewed so many people and we've talked about like traditional wholesale, private label, retail arbitrage, Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, but this is really my first time talking to anybody about this bundling game, which is really cool because one thing I like about it is you're able to differentiate yourself from everybody else, which is so cool. Do you feel that being able to think outside the box and creativity plays a big role in wholesale? Because it seems like everybody, like even with like private label and stuff, it's like everybody's just like kind of like copying each other, right? Like, do you get to use your mind and really think outside the box with bundling and everything? Like, is that required?
Well, a little bit of creativity is definitely on your side if you have that, but you have to, you're putting things together. One of the things we're teaching in our workshop is kind of how to think like a bundler. Like that's one of the things that it's hard for me to just, all the things that go through my head when choosing a bundle, and creativity is part of it, but also it's just about what do people want and need, and what do they want and need at the same time. Amazon is all about the convenience. People want 2-day shipping. They want stuff right now. They don't want to go to the store. They don't want to pick out certain things to go with other things. They're just like, just give me this, for example, like a baby shower gift. You've got to go to this baby shower and you're just like, oh, I forgot to get a gift. 2 days later, it can show up at your door and you've got a diaper bag with some baby bottles and a little outfit and everything else to put together on a bundle. You buy it from Amazon, you put it in a bag, and you're out the door. People love convenience, and that's what the good thing about bundles is. If it makes sense to put the two things together, people it's one less button to click. And I know that seems really petty, but people are willing to pay $10 extra to not have to click through and pick 3 different things.
Is there a best type of product or category for beginners to get into when they start bundling? I know you had mentioned you had started with, I think you said you started with toys, right?
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't start there at this point. We started with toys years ago. The best place to start is probably grocery. If you're unrestricted or ungated in grocery for Amazon, I know they have restricted categories, but the best way to get in is that. First of all, it's low cost, so that means low risk at first for beginners that are just starting. Also, variety packs. So you can create variety packs. One of the first bundles we did was like a granola bar variety pack. So Costco sells like the 50 box, but you only get like 2 varieties, to where my kids want like peanut butter bars, and they like the chocolate chip ones, they like the oatmeal raisin ones. So I was like, hey, why don't we try putting a bundle pack together of like all these different granola bars instead of just getting these 2 varieties. And it flew off the shelf. It was doing really well. So I'm like, okay, what else can we do? So creating variety packs of different flavors of things, candies, chocolates, cereal, drink powder mixes, anything that you can think of to put together. It's a really low cost of entry because you can go to your grocery store, pick up a few, send them in, see how they do. You know, if it's a flop, you probably lost $10 and you try again.
Do you recommend hopping on other people's listings, or is it best to kind of reinvent the wheel and create your own listing? What are your thoughts on that?
Both. Yes and yes. I hop on people's listings if it's a listing that you can copy perfectly. So you can't just be like, oh, I don't have this variety, but I have that variety. Look for stuff that's out there. If someone's selling a 2-pack of Cheez-It crackers and you can get those for a good price, jump on it. It's not branded, it's not wholesale, it's not everything. But also, don't be afraid to create your own listings. The money is in creating your own listings and bring your own products to market. We call our bundle system poor man's private label. I've been calling it that for like 2.5 years because you're creating essentially creating a wholesale a private label product with your bundle until someone else can find you or copy you, which we teach some strategies on how to prevent that in our course. But essentially, you're private labeling an item by grabbing a couple things to put together that hopefully, and that's why we use the wholesale method, because I choose bundles from probably 3 different vendors. So it's very difficult for somebody to try and come and copy it because I'm buying from this person, this person, this person, putting 3 different things together from different wholesalers. That's a lot of work for someone. And I have found that Amazon sellers are very lazy. They don't want to create their new product. They just want to do what everyone else is doing because that seems to be working. All the while I'm over here making truckloads of money creating my own product. So don't be afraid to create your own listings.
So, geez, you're blowing my mind right now with all this information. I'm like writing notes down, like, what am I going to ask next? For some reason, when you're talking about this, like my brain is thinking you're going out to like retail stores and doing like retail arbitrage to gather all this stuff. But you're actually, if I heard you correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, you're sourcing all of your inventory from wholesale vendors. Is that correct?
That is correct. Absolutely.
Wow. That's a game changer because I tell you right now, nothing against any retail arbitrage people. I have quite a few friends who do it, but I just hate retail arbitrage. I'm going to be honest. Like, I think it's a good way to make money, but like having to go out to all the stores and running around like a crazy person, like, I don't know, man. Maybe when I was like 22, I could do it.
Try doing it with 3 kids and a husband with you. It's not fun. For years and years, we did retail arbitrage. I mean, that's what was working at the time, but you know, you have to decide when it's time to change, when it's time to make a change. We realized it's really hard to spend $20,000 a week at retail arbitrage. So what are we going to do with this inventory money? And it became that's why I said early in the beginning of the show of, you know, we work about 25 hours a week right now. But we didn't start that way. We started slow and then we built up to where we work in so much because of the retail arbitrage. And we're like, we've got to make a change because although this is still profitable, it's taking hours and hours and hours, and my family misses me, and this is not what I'm a stay-at-home mom. I want to be home with my kids when they're home. Now, they're all school age, so they're in school, but then I want to be with them. I want to go to their things. I don't want to be like, oh, sorry, mom's got to run to do the store for another 8 hours to keep doing that. So we had to make a change, and we started looking into wholesale. And yes, we go to several trade shows a year. We go to America's Mart in Atlanta in January, and we go to ASD in March and a couple other small shows, and we get catalogs. We build relationships with vendors. We actually have a couple exclusives because we do bundles in a different way than everyone else. A lot of people are told, no, we don't accept Amazon sellers anymore for wholesale, but because we do bundles, we've been able to negotiate with wholesalers to say, hey, we do things differently. Look at how we do things differently, and let us be your exclusive Amazon brand representative, and this is how we're going to represent your product. And they have said yes, and some people still say no, but most of them have said yes because they like that we're doing things differently.
Wow. There's like a lot of learning lessons you just dropped. You just dropped so many gold nuggets. It's like I'm going to have to rewatch this like 7 times. One thing I like about your business model with the wholesale bundles, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, is it feels like your business model is a lot safer than a traditional retail arbitrage route, mainly because when you're doing retail arbitrage, from my understanding, if you do get some type of like inauthentic claim or anything like that, I don't think Amazon wants to see the receipts anymore. They want to see that wholesale invoice. So is it correct to say that sourcing through wholesale distributors and having that invoice actually allows you to sleep at night a little better, knowing that if something was to happen?
100% yes. I have actually had somebody try to report one of my bundles as inauthentic. All I did was pull out an invoice, scanned it into Amazon, and immediately that went away. They're like, "Oh, we're sorry, we bothered you." Everything is purchased. Now we do a little bit of retail arbitrage too because I still love thrifting. I still love doing that, but I do that
That's
mostly
fun.
for my eBay business because I still love eBay, even though it's like a tiny percentage of what I do. I still have that thrifting, finding the gold nuggets in somebody's garage sale stuff. So I still do some of that, but on Amazon, it scares me because of, copyright infringements or intellectual property or inauthentic
same here.
claims that, I just pull out a wholesale sheet and send it to them. And I've never had any issues because everything I purchase is proven and legit from manufacturers and distributors.
That's really cool. One thing I was interested in, Kristen, was kind of in comparison to private label. A lot of the private label like teachers and just videos I've watched, they teach to go after a product that already has a market, that's already selling. And it seems like and I think they teach that because there's such a big investment, $1,000 to $5,000 to $10,000 to kind of get started in that product. But I feel like if I heard you correctly, you don't necessarily need to have a winning product. Maybe you could kind of touch on that a little bit more in terms of when you're like choosing that bundle, because I know you had mentioned kind of like experimenting and trying new things out. Is it important that there's already some type of do you have a system in place to know like, okay, this is going to be a success, like it already has a market?
Well, we definitely do our fair share of research. I mean, you can't be in this business without being a researcher. You have to look at the data that's provided for you. Amazon provides a ton. Keepa charts and camel extensions help you show you what products are doing well. When I choose a bundle, I'm like, I have to be very careful that I'm not like teaching my whole class on your show. But, I want to share. I can't help it. But, when I create a bundle, I solve a problem for somebody. So I see a hole in the marketplace and I say, this is a problem because I really want this and this together and I can't find that at my local store. So I'm going to create this product for the masses because if I need it, I bet you there's another 100,000 people at least in America that need what I need to solve this problem. So when you're starting with a bundle, I've never even said this publicly, Amy's probably going to kill me. So you have to start with a problem and not a product. So what's the problem that you're solving with this product? And then go forth from there. That's where the research starts. Then you look at other things. Like one of the major things people do when they're creating bundles is people who bought this also bought this. And you're like, oh, I never thought that people would buy that with that. Does that make sense? Would people buy that together? Yes, and they put it in the cart. Now, don't look at it like, okay, people who bought hot sauce also bought, baby diapers. That clearly doesn't make any sense. But they're just shopping for their groceries. But, looking at things like, okay, people who bought we talked about Leap pads earlier. People who bought the Leap pad also bought the headphones and the case. That's a match made in heaven. Amazon basically told you what bundle to make. You want to look for those things and start to make it more convenient for your customer to be able to make a bundle for them because time is money, money is time, and people want to save both.
Wow, that's some really good insight right there. Thank you. So when it comes to the bundle, and maybe you could just kind of give me like a little broad insight. A bundle, when you say you were to find, that Leap item and then the headphones, you do a bundle those 3 items up. Do you have to put it in a box together or do you have to just put it in one big poly bag? Is there any tricks or tips you could give to people when they're actually putting the bundle together so Amazon doesn't get upset?
Remember that, yes, it will be a box or a bag, whatever is the most sufficient for your item. Some things only call for a poly bag. Like we did it recently. We did a unicorn bundle with a couple different plushies and then like this little small blanket. It was like a little unicorn kind of bundle, and it was more for toddlers, babies. And we just put it in a poly bag because obviously it's not going to get broken, whatever. But remember that your item is touched a lot. So you're touching it. Your wholesaler's touching it first, then you're touching it to box it up, bag it up. Then Amazon warehouse workers are touching it, then they're putting it on a shelf, then they're touching it again to ship it to your customer. So think about that process when you're bagging or boxing your bundle because you want to make sure it gets to the customer safe. Otherwise, you're losing money. So if a box is appropriate, then put that into your cost. If you're selling like a pair of, coffee mugs or something, bubble wrap in boxes and making sure that your
No poly
item,
bags for coffee mugs?
you would be surprised at what we have seen. So don't laugh at that too quickly there. We've seen some disastrous items before, but just making sure that it's safe and protected. You're protecting your bottom line. So make sure that you go the extra mile to package your items. So typical poly bags is mostly what we use. We don't do a whole lot of breakables. But occasionally a box is required. You can buy those through eSupply Store or Uline or any old place that has those things. Bubble Fast, we use Bubble Fast.
yeah.
We actually have a mommy income discount. So anyone who's listening, it's not an affiliate, it's just a discount. Anything on FBA supplies, use the discount code Mommy Income and save 10%. So
I can't beat that. Cool. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. I got a very, very important question for you.
okay, I'm scared.
Are you ready?
I certainly am.
Are you ready for some rapid fire? I've got probably about 7 or 8 questions. I want you to answer these.
Wait a second, is this like the Joe Buck undeniable questions, like would you rather stuff?
No. These are on the outline. It's
Okay.
It's not like if you were an animal, what animal do you wish you could be? No. But if you
Okay.
want to answer that question, you could. I think
Oh my
I would be. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, let's get into it. So 30 seconds or less, Kristen. Okay, no weird questions, I promise you. Until the end. What is one success story that kind of stands out in your mind when it comes to like wholesale bundling? You don't have to give away the super, super duper specifics, but is there any time of year or Q4 where you woke up and you had like an amazing day or anything like that?
You mean you want to talk product? Is it you want me to tell you a product that I
Just
sold,
a
or
success
just like
story. You don't have to give too specific. Just a success story when it comes to wholesale bundles.
Okay, so I started a brand new niche in wholesale bundles in August, and I branched out into something a little bit different than what I was doing because I just saw this hole in the market. And I was like, I think I'm going to try these. So I looked up a company, found some stuff, put this bundle together, and it was doing just fine. And I was like, oh, wow, that's selling decently. That's great. So I'll branch out again. Well, I tried a holiday version for Halloween, and I sold every unit in 2 days. And I was like, oh, I grossly underbought because Halloween comes and goes so quickly that I didn't have time to reorder, and I was just testing. And so I was kind of shooting myself in the foot for that one. So I'm like, okay, let's try this for Thanksgiving, although it's not really a Thanksgiving product. You wouldn't think people would maybe use this for Halloween or Thanksgiving. And so we're like, well, I'm still going to try it anyway because why not? And they all sold out. So I'm like, okay, how about Christmas? It is November 27th, and all the Christmas varieties that I've made of this particular product are already all gone. And so it's like, oh, even at this part in the game, I still underbuy, and I'm still shocked at some of the volume that comes through during Q4. So I guess you could call that a decent success story. So we're going with it. We're going with every seasonal holiday with this product that we can think of.
So this product, since we didn't mention it, hopefully you don't mind sharing. I'm curious on this super secret mommy income product. What are you netting it for profit on each one that sells?
Well, it's about $7 or $8 profit. But
Wow.
that's not a lot, but it's something that we're selling 5 or 6 different varieties of each one. So that's a lot in a day. And so it's just, it adds up over time, each profit. I mean, some people don't even touch anything that's not at least a $10 profit, but these are so lightweight and easy to ship and sell that I'm so happy with the $8 each for each different variety of them.
This might be a hard question for you. Everyone always gets the first part of this question like easily, and then the second part they're like, because they just love their business so much. What's one thing you love about wholesale bundles, and then what's one thing that you hate?
I love about wholesale bundles, I love the fact that I can be creative and I can put different things together. I love that I can buy as many quantities as the wholesaler has. I love that they deliver it to me and I don't have to go out chasing it. I love that I can order and reorder and actually outsource the ordering and reordering and send it to the prep center so they can do all the work. What I hate is back orders. There is, like, especially for a bundler, a back order is like a stab in the back. It's like, oh, I can't put this bundle together because this one thing is back ordered for a month. So that's frustrating. The struggle is real, and it's extremely frustrating for back orders or dealing with vendors that are just, I have to hold my tongue there. I was trying to think of a nice way to say what I was thinking.
Jerks.
they just They don't know their, never mind.
Next question.
Right. So there's some vendors out there that just, they don't know their eye from their elbow. They don't know what's going on. They don't talk with each other. And then somebody thinks it's back ordered and then they ship and then they get the invoice wrong. So there's definitely, it's not all sunshines and rainbows for sure, but I do not like back orders and they're just a pain.
How much money for somebody who's maybe they're just actually let me start with the first question. If somebody is watching and they've never sold on Amazon before, maybe they've only sold on eBay, is it a good idea to start with wholesale bundles as the first way to be introduced? Is it possible? Do you have any students or anyone who's just got right in wholesale bundles and had success? Or do they usually start with like thrifting or retail arbitrage first from your experience?
Oh, that's a good question. We have shifted our thinking in this in the past 6 months for several reasons. The old me would want to say, start right away with thrifting and things around your house. And I would still suggest that for like your first shipment into Amazon. You want to get used to the process. You have to label things. You have to put them in bags. Usually you have to box them up, getting used to the process. So if you're brand new, start from books around your house, start from, things that aren't really going to cost you that much money so that you can get used to the process. But after that, I 100% want people to start with wholesale. Why bother going through step 2, 3, and 4 when you can skip to step 5 and start doing even better? I don't have any problems with retail arbitrage, but I do think Amazon over the years is changing rapidly when it comes to retail arbitrage. They're asking for people to prove that they're authentic, our items are authentic, and their Walmart receipt is not cutting it. Some people skate by with their receipts, but most people, Amazon's denying them, and then you're going to get yourself in trouble. So although it's a good lower point of entry, and we still do a little bit of retail arbitrage just because it's fun, but in reality, I feel like Amazon's really shifting and wanting people to be more legit. And in order to be more legit, it's just better. You're starting a business. This is not a hobby, you guys. I mean, it can be, but it's a legitimate business. You will pay taxes. You need to have an EIN number. You need to have a business bank account. I mean, we're not playing around. If you want to make this into a real income, then treat it like a real business. And so in order to do that, I'd say start right away. I mean, start as a legitimate store and get some wholesale accounts, but you have to put in the time for research.
Mm. How much money is required to get started with a wholesale bundle business? Minimum amount? And I'm sure it'll differ.
It definitely varies. I would like to see people start with, $300 to $500. I see a lot of companies that will depend on what niche you're in. I see a lot of companies minimum orders are $300 to $500. Once you start getting over that 500 mark, then you start getting things like free freight, free shipping, deeper discounts. So you can get in for a couple $100, $200, $300 maybe, but it's better to really, just the risk is pretty low. I think that's why we do wholesale bundles, poor man's private labels, because you're not spending thousands of dollars and tying your money up for 3 or 4 months ordering something from China and hoping it gets here in all in one piece and things like that. I mean, I have no problem with that. That works for many, many people, but this works for us.
So I know you have a course on wholesale bundles. How long does it take if somebody was to get that? And again, I'm going to leave information down below for anyone who wants to check out your wholesale bundle course, which I think is super cool. How long does it take for someone once they go in there to kind of like go through? Is it like a video module? How does that all work? And how long does it kind of take from like, okay, I'm going to get in there, I'm going to watch the videos, and then I can start taking action? Obviously, there's always going to be learning curves, right? But like, what's that window look like?
If you've already have an open Amazon account, you've already been selling for a time, then wholesale bundles is just taking the next step. We walk you step by step through every part of the process that we use. Lots of people do wholesale differently, but we just walk you through the process that we use by setting up, being legit, finding wholesalers, reaching out to them, how to speak to them. We even have templates of like email templates of how you speak to a vendor, because some people are just so scared to pick up that phone and call them and look at their catalogs and things like that. So the course isn't super long. It's all video based and we have some downloads with it, but then it's not super long. I wish I knew how many hours it was. It's not a whole lot of hours. It's broken down into smaller videos so that you can take action after each step. So you've got the wholesale part first, the bundle part second, and it's just kind of that how to think like a bundle or how to pick products. And we show a lot of examples, but we're not going to tell you what to bundle. That's kind of up to you to do the research and figure out what it is you want to sell. And then the sky is the limit. We've got a ton of people doing wholesale bundles in our Facebook group, and they just love it. They love how it changed their business from retail arbitrage and struggling to find products and quantities and things like that, and restrictions and price tanking. I mean, if you're creating your own bundles, there's no such thing as price tanking. I mean, you raise the price.
I've got like a bunch of inside jokes with people. I have a friend, his name's Jameson, and every time we see each other, he just screams out tank. And it's just like, he's just always posting pictures of tanks everywhere. He's big into retail arbitrage. So Jameson, if you're listening, yes, you've been recognized. Cool. What I want to ask you was, for somebody who maybe they're just getting started, they went through the course, maybe they learned on their own, they watched videos, they did a little Google, deep diving in Google and figured out some things or whatever, they have a friend, whatever, however they do it. What's the biggest mistake you see people making those first 3 months when they get into wholesale bundles? One thing that you see it and you're just like, oh, if I could have just warned you.
It's not taking the time to fully think through what this bundle is going to be used for, who's going to potentially be buying this item, and also the photography. For the love of all things, take the thing out of the package before you take a picture of it. I mean, people are buying a lot of stuff from like the dollar store. It's a low point of entry, which is fine. People are buying stuff from the dollar store and they're, creating bundles with it, which is great for a lot of people. But they're leaving like the hang tags on, or they're leaving something in the package. It's like, it costs $1. Like, take it out of the package and take a proper photo of this thing.
I will not lose $1.
I'm telling you, and people do it. And we do bundle reviews as part of our coaching and mentorship package, and I've done several bundle reviews, and it's so hard for me because I want to give everybody good news, but the reality is, like, you didn't think this through all the way, and I have to point out all the flaws, but it helps people. It's just like, okay, next time, take this picture again. I have a good example of a pass fail when it comes to pictures. We had a bundle that we had taken a picture of and put it together, and all the keywords were there, and they were great products, and we didn't understand why it wasn't moving. And then I looked at the picture and realized the red item that was in it looked orange. The picture came out orange, and somehow we didn't catch it when we put it on the listing. So we took a different picture, we updated it to where it actually looked the right color, and it started flying off the shelf, and it's actually one of our evergreen products we still sell today. And that was like a year ago because the picture was wrong. So taking the time to track your item and see how it's selling, where it's selling, taking good photos, using good keywords, use merchant words, and use good keywords to make sure that you're building your listing properly.
Let's touch on we have a couple more questions. Let's touch on kind of like your routine and your rituals, because one thing I've noticed amongst successful people such as yourself who are doing really well, whether it's on eBay or Amazon or private label or wholesale bundles, right, is they have these specific things that they do on a regular basis. Not all successful people are working $50, $80, $100 per week. Yeah, there's, like you said, there's some startup costs involved and of time and investment, and you paid your dues. But what are some of your core routines and rituals that you believe have led and continue to lead to your success in your wholesale bundle business?
You have to stay organized, and you have to use time management. And the number one way we use time management is our 15-minute hustle. We wrote a book called 15-Minute Hustle, Amy and I I have this chart that I use. And I wish it was handy. It probably is, but it's probably in the other office that I was using earlier.
No worries.
But every day I write down the top 4 things that I need to get done on that chart, and the end goal of the week is to get this many things done. And I use sticky notes, and I use a timer. So I set a timer, especially if I can't be distracted. I mean, not every single day, 24/7, but like 2 or 3 times a week when I really need to stay focused on a project. Or I'm in my wholesale catalogs, I can be lost forever because it's fun to me. So I have to set a timer and getting things done. And I just do 4 things a day. I have to get these 4 things done today. I don't have a list of 20 things long, but I also have a master list that I work from. And the master list is, if I've got 15 minutes, this is great for, busy moms that are kind of doing a side hustle or whatever, is that you've always got minutes here and there. You don't always have an hour, but you might have 15 minutes to grab when someone's waiting to get out of dance class, or somebody you need to drive someone and you're waiting for them. So you pick something off of that 15-minute hustle list and you just take care of it. So I've been doing that since my son, my very wild, rambunctious son, was about 2 years old. He's now 17, so I survived. But he was such a curious George that I only had a few minutes at a time to get things done. So I started doing that. Like, what can I get done in 15 minutes? And just kind of worked from there. And so I used the 15-minute hustle to pick little things off my list that need to get done. Even if I can't get the whole thing done, I've got it done. I've got it started. And I work a lot with my own time management.
Wow, I like that a lot. I kind of have a similar system, and I agree with you. It's not about how many things you do, because you can do a million different things, but you could be climbing up the wrong ladder. It's really about choosing the right path and doing those most important things. It's kind of like the 80-20 rule. So really, really cool. I'm glad you dove into that. Last question is, what are your thoughts on the long-term sustainability and growth of wholesale bundles on Amazon FBA? Like we mentioned before, we were talking about retail arbitrage, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to I kind of crapped all over it. It's just not a personal preference of mine. And I feel like the long-term growth of retail arbitrage is slowly declining. I think a lot of us can agree with just the brand restrictions and whatnot. But what's your thoughts on wholesale and wholesale bundles in terms of long-term growth?
I think that the long-term growth is there. One thing you have to remember about Amazon is that it's always changing. So in the course of time that I've been doing Amazon, we've pivoted a lot of times. We've changed a lot of different things. We started with books. We changed from books to retail arbitrage. We changed from retail arbitrage into different forms of retail arbitrage, whether it be we changed categories or we started adding different things and getting to know more niches. And then we never really got too much into online arbitrage because it wasn't for us. We didn't love searching for different things and not having a hands-on view. But then we pivoted again into wholesale and then again into bundles. And that's one thing you have to keep in mind with Amazon is that by the time you get used to doing something well, you're going to have to change. But with that said, the positive side about wholesale bundles is also that we're pivoting again into brand registry. So we've created our own brand. And what we're doing is a couple of different bundles that we sell, and we stick within a very tight niche right now. We branch out a tiny bit, but we have a product that we don't necessarily manufacture the product, but we have special packaging that we use with our brand name and logo on it. So that's basically setting us apart almost as into our own private label without all the rigmarole. And so I think that's the best way to pivot long term for wholesale bundles is it making something your own. Because the reality is, if you are ordering from two different wholesale suppliers and someone else comes along and sees your bundle and they know where to buy your items, they're free to copy you until you have something that's uniquely yours that they cannot copy. Because you're supposed to duplicate exactly on a listing. So if someone's not duplicating it exactly, you can have them boot it off. And so we've had that happen, and we've decided to pivot into brand registry so that we can register one of our products that pretty much goes with everything we sell. So we're manufacturing our own product. Basically, the packaging is what we're manufacturing. It's not necessarily an item. So it's very low cost of entry. But again, it's that extra pivot that we're taking into making sure that our bundles are competition free.
Right when I thought you were out of gold nuggets, Kristen, you come out with that. I was not expecting. That was a really, really, really awesome tip right there. So that's it, guys. We covered a lot of information. I want to thank you for coming on. We dove into so many. This video is going to have a lot of replay value. So if you guys are enjoying this, watching live on YouTube, be sure to like the video. If you're on iTunes, definitely leave an honest feedback. If you haven't already, check the description down below, iTunes, YouTube, whether you're listening to this or watching on Facebook, Instagram, check it out down below, mommyincome.com. She's on Instagram, she's on Facebook and YouTube, and she has the AZ Files podcast as well. It's all going to be linked up down below. If you guys are interested in getting started with wholesale bundles, because I know we kind of just dove into that, and I'll be honest, it's because I was really interested in it, and I thought you guys would be too. Check out her course as well. I'm going to talk to her behind the scenes. I want to see if I can set up something special. This is just off the cuff. I don't know if I can or not, but I think you guys would really, really enjoy it. So check the links down below. Do you have any final words for the people who are listening on iTunes or watching on YouTube, Kristen?
Just don't be afraid to try something new. Every single time we've looked into trying something new, it's been great. And yeah, it's not all sunshines and rainbows, but trying something new, especially on Amazon, is a great way to just bust through those plateaus and reach the potential that you want to reach. So don't be afraid to take a little risk and put yourself out there.
I love it. Awesome. Well, hey, thank you so much for coming on. I know there's a million other things you could have been doing right now, but you decided to come on and help some people out. So really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for coming on, and hopefully everybody enjoyed this video. So until the next time, we'll see you guys soon, and have a great day.
You know, in 2012, like this was January of 2012, we went full time. Like I got fired from my job, and Eric he decided like he wanted to come along for the ride and just do it. So that's when we really got started. You know, we had done some sales, until then it was just kind of like a moonlight gig. But once it became our like full time job, it was that was what we had to rely on.
Yeah.
So we had to get out there all the time. In that first year, like we did almost $1 million in sales. I think.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com. Coming back to you with another video. I'm here in Corbin, Kentucky with my good friend Dan. What's going on, brother?
Not much, brother.
So Dan and I, we've done quite a few videos in the past. I've had them on my channel. And what's really cool is Dan came from the eBay world. He came from the retail arbitrage world. And this was probably, what, 7, 8, 9 years ago? Maybe farther than that?
As far like I started doing eBay in college, and I actually developed a pretty strong little eBay store for video games. Like I carried the SNES games, NES games, like and did really well with it. And then eventually I got a job and just didn't have time to keep up with the eBay store. And then I remember how we got started with Amazon. The CFO of our company came in one day and he was talking about how well he was doing with Amazon. And I remember just being so resistant because I remember how much work eBay actually was. Like answering questions all the time, packing and shipping orders. Like it was just, it was more than I knew I could handle. Like while I'd done well in the past, it was just like I didn't feel like I had the bandwidth to just do it again. And that's whenever he like told me about FBA and the fact that Amazon packs and ships your orders and does the vast majority of customer service. And I was like, oh wow, because I remembered how profitable and fun it actually was to get out there and buy stuff. And then there was the whole problem of I just had no idea how to acquire products. And eventually, after he'd told me about it the first few times, and he finally came in and he gave his actual notice. And this guy was making well over 6 figures.
Wow.
And I remember I was like, what are you doing? Are you like moving or something? And he's like, no, man, I'm just making more money on Amazon now than I do at my actual job. And that's whenever he like really, I started trying to dive in and learn more about it. And he took me out to Walmart, and I remember that first experience, like going through and scanning stuff. And he was like, I ran across that first item, and it was like a Disney car. I think it was Shu Todoroki.
Oh wow!
The Disney cars,
like
the Disney cars too. And it was like $3.36 at Walmart at the time. And it was $15 on Amazon. And I was like, no way.
How is this possible, you're thinking?
Right, like no way anybody's actually paying $15 for this little
Doesn't
tiny
make
Disney
sense,
car.
you think.
And he was like, no, just try it out, man. Just buy a bunch of them. He's like, what are you going to spend, $30? To give it a shot. So we did. And went home, shipped them in. And I swear, like the first day they got received, we probably sold like 8 or 10 of them.
Oh my
and
gosh.
It was just like, oh, wow. It's just that feeling of, wow, this really works.
That's like the aha moment where you're like, I know something that other people don't know.
Right. And then, we went around, me and my business partner, Eric, we ran around for the next probably 6 months just buying and selling stuff off of shelves. And by December, we started with a $600 credit card. And by December, we did $50,000 in December alone. And that was without loans, without anything. Just going out there, beating the streets, finding product every single day on the weekends. Like, every waking hour that I wasn't at work, I was out in a store finding something to sell.
And that's how a lot of the viewers who are watching right now, how their lives go. They're out there sourcing at Goodwills, Savers. They used to go to a lot of Toys R Us until they went under, but Walmart's, Targets. Sure. So we know exactly what it's like. We're out there sourcing all the time. We're grinding our ass off.
Oh yeah. And I had that same feeling. And then, in 2012, like this was January of 2012, we went full time. Like I got fired from my job. And Eric, he decided like he wanted to come along for the ride and just do it. So that's when we really got started. We had done some sales, until then it was just kind of like a moonlight gig. But once it became our like full-time job, it was, that was what we had to rely on. So we had to get out there all the time. And that first year, like we did almost $1 million in sales. I think we did like 850 or 880.
And that's all retail arbitrage, buying from
100% retail
stores
arbitrage.
and reselling on Amazon.
Oh yeah. and it was crazy, it was just crazy hours, but it was so much fun. Like that
Yeah.
whole treasure hunt aspect. And then, like the next year we worked even harder. Like it was crazy. We put in a lot more effort.
The same model?
Yeah, same model, retail arbitrage, and we only did 940,000. But it's like all this extra effort, accumulated into say 70, 80 extra $1,000 in sales, and we might have made an extra $25,000 between the both of us, and it was just like, gosh almighty, we had that moment where it's just like, every time we quit working, our sales go down, and then if like I physically can't work harder. Like at that point, I physically couldn't work harder. So that was kind of the point where we started looking for other models, and we tried some things that failed. Like I remember we tried to open a retail store, and that failed. We tried to open our own independent website and sell. It was My Little Pony collectibles, and that was because we watched the documentary about bronies. And that one actually didn't do terrible. Like we sold some stuff, developed a little customer base, and sold that property off. I mean, we didn't really make any money, but we kind of learned a lot of cool things that we didn't know. And then we tried our hand at private label, and I know a lot of people go that route on Amazon. And for us, like the first product we found probably broke even. Like it wasn't really successful. The second product we found was incredibly successful. We probably made $200,000 in profit in about 3 months.
Oh, wow.
So like then it was like, oh wow, it's like, oh wow, this is our model going forward. Next product we launch fails. Next product we launch fails. Next product we launch fails. And after a few of those, it was just like, you lose confidence, right? Like you lose confidence in moving forward. And that was kind of our problem is, we knew it could work, but we didn't know how to make it work consistently. And the problem for us wasn't the selling on Amazon part. Selling on Amazon or eBay is pretty easy and fairly intuitive.
Low
right?
barrier to entry, quick cash.
Exactly. But that was, instead of doing what we were good at, and that's just buying and selling products, we were trying to launch a product, which means you have to be good at marketing. And
building a brand, and you're wearing all the hats.
Right. And these were just skills we didn't have. So, private label wasn't for us. And then we were looking for another model, and we started with Wholesale. And, we started just like everybody else. I remember I was like, there are all these big companies around here doing wholesale, and we should be able to do it too. And I Googled wholesale and distributors and wholesalers and all the things, all those things you search for. And I got me a big list of people, and I called them. And then we got the giant catalogs, and we're sitting there going through the catalogs because some of them don't even have UPCs.
And that's what everyone's doing right now. And a lot of people are saying, oh, I can't get wholesale to work, or I don't think wholesale is for me, because they're all calling distributors and they're all doing the same thing.
Sure. And for what it's worth, it didn't work for me either. Like, we would find an item here and there. Like I remember we found some heaters and did really good with those. We found some Polly Pocket items, did really good. But overall, like the things we were finding just weren't good. And it was, it was like we were 2 steps forward, 1 step backward all the time. It wasn't a real business.
So what did you do?
Wholesale arbitrage. So that was like where the rubber met the road for us.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't sustainable in that form. So we next thing we did is we tried to go to a show, and that was a disaster.
Like a trade show.
Yeah, we went to ASD.
Yeah.
And we didn't know what we were doing, and we placed some bad orders there, and it didn't really work out. And I remember going back to the office, and I was looking at Eric, and I was like, man, like this is so frustrating. Like I know other people do well with this model, and it just doesn't seem to work for us. And I picked up a product on my desk, and I was like, you know what? Like that's the product I want to carry. That's it. I don't want to be digging through catalogs. I don't want to be pilfering through inventories, and I don't want to just be buying stuff and trying to figure out what works. I just want to carry something I know that it works. And it was just like, and Eric looked at me and he was like, let's just call them and see what they say, see where they tell us to buy it.
Was this a huge, like a big brand, or was it a small brand?
Small brand. It was just a small brand of a product that sold well. Like that's the thing is, in retrospect, it makes a lot of sense that it was a small brand because those are the brands that need sellers, right?
Okay.
So whenever we reached out to them, I was like, yeah, can you tell me where I would purchase this product? Like, we're a retailer and we want to carry your product, but I don't even know where to get it. And they're like, well, we sell direct. Like we are happy to open an account right here on the phone. Our minimum order is $250. And it was just like, that was the aha moment, Steve. Like that's when it happened. It was like, oh, wow. So instead of calling all these distributors and wholesalers and trying to figure out
that everyone else has.
Exactly. Just trying to figure out what works. Why not start on Amazon with a product that I know is performing well, go find out who makes the product and set up the account.
Sounds so simple.
Right. But that, this was something that I couldn't find anywhere. Like I had searched how to do wholesale online, couldn't find any information. And I just did that traditional route that everybody else follows. But as soon as we started deviating, like that was 2016, we went from 1.2 to $3.6 million in sales with that one change in strategy.
With wholesale.
With wholesale. We were 100% wholesale.
So you said buy to retail arbitrage, you said buy to private label, you said buy to thrifting, you said buy to eBay, and you took on this new model and you doubled your sales.
Tripled. Like, and it wasn't just that. It was, like the ability to grow was so controllable for us. Once we were able to pick up accounts and set up direct relationships, instead of looking at our rises and drops in revenue, it started going up all the time. Like you just see that slope upwards.
It was predictable.
Exactly.
Wow.
No, I mean, it was, whenever, that predictable income, that lets you reinvest your profits more effectively. It just lets you grow at a great pace. So that's what happened is ultimately 1.2 million turns into 3.6. And then the next year turns into almost 7. Like it's just it's just steady growth. Once you find your groove, once you're able to start developing those types of relationships.
And are you still doing wholesale now?
100%. We don't mess with any other models at this point. Our focus is entirely with wholesale, and that's because we found that niche, right? Like we found that place where we focus on working with brands and companies that we can actually help. We develop real relationships, and we don't have turnover on our accounts. Like it's not like I'm going out and having to find new products every day. Like the products that we've carried, a lot of them we've carried for 3 years or 4 years at this point.
And we're at Dan's office right now with his team, and you guys have like 7-8 people here right now. I just talked to your CFO, and I was asking him. I said, I want to bring some real stats to this video,
Sure.
And he said that you guys have done over $22 million in sales to date right now, and that your profit margins are over 20%, nearly 24% profit margins, which is fantastic. It might have been even higher than that. I'm not sure, but it was over 20% for sure. That's pretty incredible, man.
No, I mean, that's the thing is, before we started with wholesale, and I think one of the things that kept me or had me reluctant to start is I just believed all the myths, right? Like number one, that you have to have tons of money to get started. We didn't have $500,000 or a rich uncle.
Everyone says you need like 15, 30, 50,000 to start wholesale.
Right. Whenever we got started with about $2,000. And, that's what we tell people is, the vast majority of orders that we encounter, if you're working with the right companies, are between $250 and $500. And with a $2,000 budget, that gives you flexibility to place multiple orders. It gives you the flexibility to place larger orders and get discounts. Like $2,000 is a real amount of money to get started in this business.
So in every business, there's always people who give misinformation, right? The same in
wholesale margins are small.
Yeah.
Like, that's whenever you're talking about our margin, 24%. And bear in mind with these accounts, like I'm not having to go find the product. I don't even touch it.
Yeah.
Like it's crazy. Our staff makes a call once a month and says, hey, we'd like to place an order for this much. Here's how your product performed over the past month. And they'll share some information. But past that, they ship it to our prep center.
Yeah.
The prep center processes it, sends it to Amazon. And then the next month we have to make a call again.
Yeah, it's been cool hanging out with you and kind of learning how your model works because there's so much misinformation out there. People say that you need all this money, that you need all this experience, that there's this huge barrier to entry. And I feel like it's almost like people, they know it works, so they try to keep it a secret and they try to like push you away, or maybe they do it a way that's not effective, like trying to reach out to distributors and doing it like there's an old way and now there's a new way to do things. And it seems like you've really found that. And you were telling me behind the scenes, it's called reverse wholesale sourcing?
Reverse sourcing wholesale. And that's our model of finding a product on Amazon, tracking it down to where we can buy it, and then bringing that product, and just starting to sell that product on Amazon. Like we're not bringing new products. We're not trying to find a product that might work on Amazon. Like all the products that we buy have established sales history, and I'm immediately able to tap into that.
Oh, and a matter of fact, this is probably the perfect time. If you guys want to learn like more about the wholesale sourcing method, you have a free guide that you created. It's called Wholesale. I think it's just Wholesale 101 guide.
Yeah.
And you also have a guide that's called Product Sourcing Checklist, 100% free.
Yeah. So these guides,
I'll put a link down below for you guys if you want that.
So the wholesale sourcing guide, what it does is it takes you step by step through our model just to make it easy to understand. Like wholesale in and of itself is, conceptually is pretty simple. But I think a lot of people or they complicate it, right? They just assume that it can't be this
And there's only
easy.
so much we could cover in this video, so just go through it. It'll explain things much easier for you.
Right. So, that guide'll get you to understand the model. And then we have that product sourcing checklist. And what that is just kind of like the criteria that we use to determine if we're buying a good product. And if you have those things, like seriously, it's just as simple as, finding a product that works and then selling the product on Amazon. Like there's not very many other steps.
I think that'll help you guys out a lot. I personally have gone through this as well, and it really broke down a lot of misconceptions. And I don't know, I think we all have different ways that we learn. For me, like listening, I only take in so much, but if I actually get like a blog post or like a digital download, I can go through it nice and, slowly and easily. Yeah, there's structure to it. So definitely check that out. I'll put a link down to those down below. There's a lot of misconceptions in the wholesale business. You don't need a warehouse. You don't need thousands of dollars to get started. You don't have to acquire these lists and go through all these different catalogs and stuff. So it's just been so cool, like having you share this with me. Sure. And this is the first video of many videos. We probably have another 6 or 7 videos that are going to be coming. So if you guys want to learn more about product sourcing, wholesale suppliers, finding your first product, why you should get started, we're going to be breaking down so many videos. So definitely stay tuned for that. But to kind of finalize this video, what advice would you give to people out there who want to get started with wholesale? A lot of people that are watching, Dan, they're selling on eBay, they're selling on Amazon, mostly retail arbitrage, thrift stores, garage sales. And, we make good money, but the problem is a lot of us are only making $1,000 to $5,000 a month, and we're out there hustling our butt off all day long. We're having to go to these thrift stores, which are jacking the prices up. There's more competitors that are coming in because of smartphones, and it's just such a low barrier to entry that we're having a hard time scale. We're having a hard time having predictable income on a regular basis. And we're trying to find a way to have products come to us, to scale our business, to be able to make semi-passive income in a sense. And I say semi because there's nothing that's truly 100% passive. And man, what advice would you give the people who want to start wholesale besides, get the free guides and stay tuned for more videos?
Realistically, that's the best place to start, honestly, is, think about it from this perspective. It's not as complicated as it seems. Like, even in this video.
So break the limiting belief, first of all.
Number one, break that limiting belief and get started. Like, use that product sourcing checklist and just go through Amazon. Just start. You can search. You can start in any category. Think of something. It could be organic diapers or organic diaper
I bet
wipes.
you those sell well.
I guarantee it. And just start there.
Do you sell organic diapers, Dan?
I don't, but
Be
I should.
honest.
I should. I'm sure it's a great market. But just get started there. Look for products that fit those product sourcing guidelines and just think about it from this perspective. Like, if I can find a product, the next step is contact the manufacturer and set up an account. And then it's just selling the product. Like it's, the barrier to entry on this model is so easy that to get started or to even find out if it's possibly a model for you is literally just a few clicks away on your computer. So that's the first advice I would give anybody is, whenever the opportunity came to us, that was the thing is we just jumped on it and we really tried to trying to get as much mileage out of the model as possible. Sure. And that $22 million in sales later and a business that a business that works for us. Like that's the difference is you can't teach the hustle that these eBay sellers have. And I know this because I grew up.
The drive is real.
Right. But there is an easier life out there if they're willing to try it. You just got to be willing to look and start to think about how to set up a business that works for you.
Cool. Hey, Dan, man, this was awesome. And hopefully this video not only motivated and inspired you guys, but educated you and maybe built some awareness around something that you didn't even know existed. Sure. So Dan's living proof of that. He's been where you guys are, from selling on eBay to retail arbitrage to now running a multi-million-dollar Amazon business that doesn't run out of a warehouse. It's all running out of prep centers. And we're going to talk more about that in videos and how he's like running a pretty semi-passive Amazon business. But stay tuned for more videos, guys. If you enjoyed this video, do me a couple favors, like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to get that product sourcing checklist and that wholesale 101 guide, it's 100% free, no strings attached. Go down below. I'll put some links for that. But until next time, we'll send you an email or stay posted on YouTube for more videos, and we'll keep teaching you some cool stuff. So appreciate it, and see you in the next one. Peace. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com, coming back to you with another video. And today we have a really cool story that you guys are going to want to stay tuned in for. I am here with my friend Jerry Ballup, and Jerry and I have known each other for probably
3 or 4 years now. I still remember meeting him. I think we were in, I want to say it was either Vegas or Miami. I don't remember, but you were with your mom, and I had heard about your story, and you were doing retail arbitrage. And I think at the time you were doing like 20 grand a month or something. You could correct me if I'm wrong once we jump in, but
probably around there.
yeah. He's actually a member of the green room. We've known each other. We've met up a couple times, and actually got to go see his mom's warehouse and get to just learn more about Jerry and like the business, the family business and stuff. But yeah, Jerry's on the show because he went from literally, doing retail arbitrage, thrifting. I think you've even done OA to now running a wholesale business. 75 to 85% of his sales come from wholesale right now, I believe. And he did around $300,000 sales in Q4, mostly from wholesale. So it's really cool to just kind of introduce Jerry and hear his story. And like, I'm not even 100% up to date with all the things that are going on with him. So that's a little intro, but this is going to be fun. What's going on, Jerry?
Hi, Steve. How are you?
Doing fantastic, man. Like I was saying before the show, I thought Bonafide Hustler came on the video. You guys are looking very similar with the long hair.
Nah, he's got trash hair. Doesn't get any sales. I got better hair and better sales.
Dude, so it's great to have you on the show, man. 20 years old, Jerry Ballop. What's been going on, man? How in the world did you get into wholesale? Maybe you want to tell a little bit about your story and how you got started and just the transition, because when you told me your sales, I was really impressed, man. I didn't know you came that far.
Yeah, so like many other people, I started with thrifting and going to garage sales, then started doing RA. And at a certain point, I was like, oh, I keep hearing about wholesale on these trade shows. Let me check it out. So during my senior year of high school, I decided to skip a whole week of school and just fly to Vegas. And from there, I just started dipping my toes in and learning how the process goes to now just being around 75, 80% wholesale items in my inventory.
Wow. And how are you getting your wholesale items? Because there's a lot of different models that people go about. There's people who buy lists. There's people who do reverse sourcing, build relationships with brands. There's trade shows, ASD. There's so many different models. What specifically, when you talk about wholesale, what's your style or your model?
My main style is a lot more riskier than other types of wholesale, which is doing buyouts. So I'll go to trade shows. I'll meet the different distributors for items. And if they have a good item, I'll say, oh, okay, what's the pricing? Oh, maybe $15 an item. What's the pricing if I buy everything, which may be a couple hundred units to a couple thousand units. And from there, it'll give me better pricing, and I'll be the only seller on the listing because of that.
Interesting. So what type of products are you typically looking for? When you're walking around, what catches Jerry's eye? What's something that you see and you're like, okay, this is an opportunity?
Because of my experience with RA, there's certain items I'll see that, hey, I haven't seen this on the Target shelves in over 12 months, but this distributor still has 1,000 left. That'll be one of the things that pops out of my mind. Other items is if they let you touch the products, you can sometimes see the manufacture date on the bottom. And if it's more than 2 or 3 years old, I know it's a discontinued item by then. And from there, that's when I start talking. So for me, rank doesn't really matter as much as the competition and what's the selling price.
Interesting. Okay. And is that the only type of wholesale that you're doing, is the buyouts, or are you doing any other types?
I don't know, buyouts, that's the stuff I do to maintain my sales for a long time, but I also do smaller purchase quantities for testing the market and others that have more competition on the item.
Okay, cool. And I think what's cool, Jerry was saying before the show, is you actually brought a couple of products on, some wholesale products that were, and this isn't going to be like a lot of YouTube videos you watch and like the people share like only the wins. You're actually going to share some losers too, right?
Yeah, there's winners and losers, and I'm sold out of everything. So, and either discontinued, so there's not really any competition left. So just keep your eyes peeled at the thrifts. All right, so here's one winner from fourth quarter. Captain America motorcycle toy. I think it pulls back and it launches the little shields and everything. This was interesting because I visited one of my wholesalers over Q4. So imagine just 2 Costco-sized warehouses just filled with pallets and pallets of items. And he literally told me after he gave me a small tour, he's, okay, you can walk around, pick whatever you want. If it looks good, we'll talk pricing, and from there you can decide what to do.
Wow. So you saw that item sitting there. How many were there?
This was an older item of his, so he didn't really have much left, but it was around 75 units. So he was like, I'll just take everything left. And I was checking the Amazon price. It was around $60, lowest FBA. But the rank was terrible, 300,000. And he told me, I'll just take them $18 a unit, take them all. And from there, you can play around with pricing and add clicks and everything. And from there, I sold every unit during Q4. And the one I have on me is a return. So it's all good.
What did you do to get the sales going? Were you just relying on the strength of Q4? And for the people watching right now, if you're not sure what we mean by Q4, that's the fourth quarter, October, November, December. Those months are, notoriously known to speed up in sales velocity. So were you running any like pay-per-click, or were you lowering the price? Did you improve the listing, or what did you do to get those things to sell? Because 300,000 is not bad, but it's probably only selling every here, now and then.
Yeah, 300,000 rank during off season maybe sells 3 to 4 times a month. But during Q4, it'll probably bump up. But what I noticed was the selling price was $60, $70. So I lowered it down to 50. And from there, I started selling maybe 1 or 2 a day. And of course, that was a couple of weeks before Black Friday. After Black Friday hits, I was selling 5, 6 a day. And when I had my last 20 units, I bumped up price and they're still selling.
Wow. Interesting. Cool. So that's definitely a win right there. And you were probably profiting, I'm assuming, at 50, 18, probably around like $15, $20.
Yeah, $15 a unit, more or less.
Okay, nice. So there is winner number one. What do we have up next for a wholesale product?
This one's another winner. This was at one of the trade shows I went to, a Tron Legacy Light Cycle, which was which character? Clue. This one was $5 a unit. So for me, anything that's $5, kind of hard to lose money on. Rank was terrible too. I bought this during off season last year. So this was during March, April. But I only bought maybe 30 units. And yeah, I was selling one every week or so, but I was profiting maybe $11 to $12 a unit. So it wasn't that bad.
Hey, for something like that with a slower rank, are you shipping? I know you only had 30 units. Are you shipping them all in at once, or are you sending in a couple at a time typically?
If it's something that's around 30 units, I'll send them all in just to have some free space around here. But if it's a slower moving item and I have a couple hundred, I'll send in maybe 30, 60 at a time and hold on. Which is similar to a buyout I did last year. Bought 600 of an item.
600?
Yeah, not that fast of a seller, but the profits are pretty good. But now I'm the only seller left on the listing and been selling 1 to 5 a day.
Wow.
But that one I can't share just yet.
Can you share maybe what you bought it for, what you're selling it for?
Buy cost was 12. When I was first to market, I was selling them for $40. Then the other sellers started coming in. So then from 40 to 35, 35 to 30, then to around 25, and it maintained that way for a couple months. And then once those guys sold out, I was the last guy left, and now it's selling at $30 all day.
Wow. That's really cool, man. Are you using Keepa charts or camel when you're analyzing these deals? Are you, like, for example, I do a lot of e-flip, and during the textbook season, off season, I'll be buying based on the charts and then sending them in for textbook season. Are you doing the same thing? Or are you going more based on gut, just knowing the brand, knowing that Q4 it's just going to spike, or do you have to see like a trend?
For me, Keepa's one factor if there's competition on the item. If there's no competition, I'll go with my gut, especially if I know the brand. Like if it's a Lego item, I'll buy it all day, which I've had success with several wholesale Lego lots, but those don't really come around often. But then there was a recent one, which I consider a loser now, but a winner long term. Spent around $23,000 on 1,500 Lego sets. I thought I'd be the only guy selling it. Turns out my wholesaler didn't get the full amount that was sold. And I guess whoever sold him that 1,500 also sold around 800 to other people. And now they're on the listing, which of course they got a cheaper price. And right now it's break even. So I have to sit on those for a while.
Mm. So would you say for someone who's new to wholesale and they're going the buyout method like you're doing, trade shows, would you rather go deep or would you go wide? And what I mean by that for the people watching is if you had $1,000, would you rather spend it all on one product or would you rather diversify and go with 5 or 10 products to go a little more wide and lower your risk?
If you definitely have less than 5K in capital, I'd definitely go wider than deeper. Just because if you buy this one item, the wholesaler tells you there's 1,000 left, you buy 1,000. The wholesalers almost never give you the true quantity they have on hand. So they probably have another 500 they'll give to a person they have a better relationship with and at a cheaper rate. And maybe that guy wants to tank the listings so that you'll lose money, but he's still making money. So it's better maybe to test order with 10, 20 units of every item. And if it's selling good, just go ahead and make the reorder.
Awesome. Great advice, Jerry. What else we working with, man? I know you got a couple more things.
Yeah, this is one of my losers, which thank goodness during Q4 I sold out of. Marvel Legends, I believe it's the larger series of figures for Captain America. This one buy cost was around $24.50. And at the time, it looked good because this figure was selling for $50. So I was like, oh, I'll make a $10 guaranteed profit. And it was one of those situations where the wholesaler didn't give me the true quantity he had on hand. And at the same time, I did a small test order. So I was stuck with 50 units. I was hoping the price would go up, but during Q4, I saw it wasn't going up. So I was like, all right, I'll sell it at a loss, but at least I'm getting my money back.
Interesting. Okay. Now, how do you know that there's not other wholesalers who have units? Because, they might be telling you the truth, but who's to say there's not another wholesale on the other side of the country with another batch of that product?
Yeah, it's always a thing of these kind of closeout type buyout deals. Whoever they're buying them from, like usually if the Marvel figures or other toys, they're buying them directly from Target or Walmart, like they're overstock. Some wholesalers will work closely with these companies to make sure they're getting everything on hand. But like always, it's these companies will say, oh, we have 2,000 on hand when they really have 4,000 or more.
Okay.
Like even my favorite wholesaler, he's had problems with that in the past, spending over $500,000 on a product just so he can have everything on hand. And the manufacturer had that same amount he sold him. They still had that same amount on hand selling to retailers. So he's been sitting on that item for like 2 years now.
So there's definitely some pros and cons to your specific model. I've been interviewing and talking with quite a few other wholesale sellers who are, in the wholesale formula program or other people who are running this model. Why did you choose to do this model, like purchasing buyouts versus building relationships and getting exclusives and kind of going that route? Because I know you're familiar with Dan and Eric and the wholesale formula model. Any pros and cons or any reasons why you chose your model? Because there's always more than one way to skin a cat. I'm not here to say theirs is better or yours is better or worse or whatever, but I'm just kind of curious what your mindset is on that.
I know mine's definitely more risk and more capital involved, but if you have the space, time, and money, definitely do it. This method I prefer because I can spend a certain amount because I look more at the cost of a buyout than the costs for every order. So if a buyout only costs me $8,000 to $10,000, I consider that pretty cheap, and I'll buy it. And then from there, I have inventory to last me a couple months on end. Versus some other wholesalers where you do smaller quantities every month. They'll respond, but they're not going to give you highest priority because you're not the one spending the most.
Interesting. What would you say are the biggest mistakes or challenges that you faced getting into wholesale? And maybe some advice for the people that are watching right now who want to go with your model of wholesale.
All right. So tips for wholesale, I'd say go to as many trade shows as possible. Just walk around, just get the experience. It doesn't matter if you make a buy or not. Second is learning how to approach these wholesalers because at many trade shows, they'll say no Amazon sellers. A lot of times I'll go and I'll ask them why. They're like, oh, it's MAP pricing you're breaking, or we just don't like how all the products crash in price because of Amazon sellers. From there, you can talk with them. see if maybe they can give you exclusivity, or maybe they'll give you a condition, oh, you have to buy a certain amount, minimum order of every item. And then for buyout situations, I'd say definitely have cash, time, and space on your hand, because that's one of the harder aspects of the way I do it. There's times where I've lost a lot of money, times I made a lot of money, and I'm still sitting on tons of products right now that I slowly sell off over time.
How do you deal with restrictions with buyouts? Are you getting ungated? Well, let me take a step back. Are you getting invoices from these wholesalers when you do the buyouts to get ungated from Amazon?
Most of the time I'm not really gated on any products. And even so, even if I'm gated, I usually get auto ungated because my sales history of Amazon. And these wholesalers, they'll always give me an invoice. So I always have proof of purchase on hand, no matter what.
Yeah, because that's definitely one of the benefits of doing wholesale, Jerry, is because a lot of people, I know you have a seasoned account. I have a seasoned account as well, but I still deal with, because I don't do the volume that you're doing. But especially the new people who are watching now, who are wanting to get started, they're going to be facing so many restrictions. So what's the process for getting ungated? Do you, when you get these deals and you get the invoice, do you just reach out to Amazon and then they ungate you because you have the manufacturer invoice, like permission?
All right. The Marvel item I showed you, let's say shows up restricted. I'll look up the ASIN under add a product on Amazon Seller Central. You type in the ASIN, it'll pop up the product. It says you cannot sell this item in new condition. And there's usually a button to find out more or apply now. You click that. And if you have a good sales history of Amazon, most of the time they'll auto ungate you, because based on your sales history, they'll approve you. Or if it's a certain brand restriction, like they want actual invoices, they'll then tell you, you can sell this item, but please provide us with an invoice showing purchase of at least 10 or more units, or a letter from the manufacturer. And that's usually where I just back off, because I don't want to spend money to spend a couple hundred to have the product just to find out that Amazon says you can't sell it.
Right. Got it. Okay, cool. Now I want to dive a little deeper into what you said when you were giving out some wholesale tips about knowing the correct way to approach the vendors, right? When you're at a trade show, whether that's ASD. And I thought that was great advice as well, Jerry, where you said, just go look around, get acquainted, get a feel for it, because you're going to get more and more comfortable. But let's go through a scenario. Let's just say that I'm here and I'm selling a bunch of, let's say I got a bunch of books. I doubt that you do books, but maybe you do. And you're interested. Let's just pretend I got a whole stack of things behind me right now. I'm behind my booth, la-di-da-di-da, having a good old time. How are you going to approach me? Let's go through a scenario.
All right. So one thing I usually take to my advantage over others in trade shows is I'll go to ASD. I plan on going to other trade shows this year as well. I see people dressed in t-shirts and shorts. Like, I get it that ASD's in Las Vegas and it's hot, but when you're dressing in t-shirts and shorts, you're not giving off that professional vibe. So you just look like some random Joe Schmo selling stuff out of his garage, versus what you want to look like, an executive that's in charge of selling tons of products at a time. So I'll go dressed in a suit, a tie, dress shoes, and I'll walk up to these guys, like extend my hand, say, hello, I'm Jerry from my company. I'm interested in your product. And they'll say, okay. And usually they'll ask, oh, how do you sell? Do you have a store? Do you sell online, your website? And I'll tell them, yes, I sell online. Amazon's one of my venues. It helps me move a lot of volume at a time. So I can see that it can be beneficial for both of us, that I can buy large quantities and you can move large quantities. And then from there, if they tell me to back off, I'll back off. Or if they find it nice, then we'll talk and discuss pricing.
What are some good signs that they're interested? Like, what are some of the things that they might say? Like, they won't be opposed to Amazon, or are there certain questions they'll start asking you where you're starting to like realize, okay, I think I got a live one.
All right. If they're opposed to Amazon, but they're willing to sell to a few sellers, they'll usually say, okay, I can sell it to you, but you have to buy a large amount. Mostly because if they have 1,000 of a toy and 20 different Amazon sellers pass by their booth and buy the same amount, but only buying 20, 30 of each, the price will eventually fall down and make it so it's not even profitable. So what they'd rather do is maybe sell that 1,000 to maybe 3, 4 at most different people. So in that way we have a somewhat control of the price. And then since we see that it was selling good at a good price, we'd come back to that same wholesaler to buy more.
Interesting. So once you build a deal and you put a deal in place and you figure out how many you're buying, the price and all of that, what's the actual process of, do you just give them the cash right there and then they bring you, like at a trade show, is the inventory all in the booth, or is it like in there? Do they have like a truck that's in the parking lot? Like what's this whole process like?
Nah, this isn't El
Breaking
Chapo that
Bad.
we just show up with a briefcase of cash.
Hey man, you're dressed in a suit, man. You know, that was a good tip because most people are dressed like with Tommy Bahamas and like they're just chilling. And I remember, I think last time I saw you, you were dressed up in a suit as well.
Yeah, I always go dressed up. If I'm not wearing a suit, I'm at least wearing a button up because presentation is key to these trade shows.
So what's the process for getting the item and stuff?
All right, so like I showed you, like there's a good toy I liked. The guy has 1,000 on hand. I want to buy 500. So I'll be like, okay, I want to buy 500 of this item. And there's some other items that catch my eye, but let's work on pricing. So we'll work out our deal. So let's say in total I'm spending maybe 10,000 with them. We'll work out my shipping information, see if it's cheaper to send by pallet or just standard ground mail to me. And once we have that figured out, I give them my credit card info. They write down a little sheet, and some of them will charge directly at the show. Others will go back to their warehouses at the end of the show and then process orders by highest order amounts first, and then tell you what the actual amount they charge on your card is.
Do you have to be worried about them not keeping up their end of the deal? For example, it's very common when you order from a supplier or a manufacturer in China, when you're doing private label, a lot of times you'll hire like an inspection company and they'll make sure that everything is up to standards. How do you know that when you receive your order from this wholesaler that you've never put a deal together with before in the past, that the products aren't going to be damaged, opened, returns? Do you do any type of due diligence or research on the company before placing a big order?
Well, you can tell by the face of the company if they're selling liquidations, like shelf pulls and returns, versus they're selling new case-packed items. Like liquidation companies, they'll tell you straight up, oh, we're liquidation, we're shelf pulls, we're returns. The items will come damaged, but we're giving it to you really cheap. Versus an actual wholesaler will be, all right, you can buy this item. There's 6 per case. They come in cardboard cases. And if you buy, let's say, 100 cases, they're coming on 2 pallets to your place. So once they're palletized and they're case packed, there's hardly any chance of them being damaged. And very rarely do they come damaged through standard ground mail if they're shipping that way.
Okay. So you're getting the products for the most part shipped directly to you. Are there any situations where you utilize a prep center? Dan and Eric of the Wholesale Formula, I just got back from their office and, they're doing, I don't know, millions per year wholesale. Their model's a little different than yours. But they're utilizing prep centers. Are you always touching the products, or are you planning on using prep centers in the future?
So the current situation I have with one of my better wholesalers was I mentioned it earlier that during Q4, right before Black Friday, I visited his warehouse. So huge place. He let me pick out whatever I wanted, made a bunch of good deals. He told me that from now on, if I want to have something directly shipped to Amazon, he'll just charge me a flat rate per case. So he says like 50 cents each case to just ship it out for you, and you just pay the shipping and send me the shipping labels to Amazon. Yeah, and plus cool. That he told me that if I do a buyout on a certain item, he won't charge me storage for a few months. So it works out for both of us.
That's great. So, all in all, are you happy with your move to wholesale? Because I know a lot of people, Jerry, that are watching right now, they're thrifting, they're hitting garage sales, flea markets. I know some of them are doing RA and OA. How do you feel now about making the transition to wholesale? Do you see yourself going back? The honest truth, do you see yourself maybe going back to thrifting, or do you want to continue to scale wholesale? Really, now that you have a taste, sorry, I just smacked the microphone. Now that you have a taste of both sides, from the thrifting, RA, OA side to like the wholesale, What are your thoughts, man?
All right, so thrifting and RA, they're fun, but they don't yield as much success as I've had with wholesale recently. Because RA, there's more competition getting in, market saturation is just making any good item that's on a sale. So you'll see this video game, instead of being $50, it's $20 at Target this week. You're like, oh, I'll make $10. It looks nice. By the time it gets to the fulfillment center at Amazon, it's already at break even or a loss. Just because everyone's just racing to the bottom and having to reprice this price a penny below. So at this point, I really don't do RA that as much as I used to. I'm just depending more on my wholesale buyouts to provide the income that I have right now.
Very cool, man. Very cool. And what advice would you give to people right now who want to transition over from the thrifting RA model to the wholesale? Is there one big takeaway or maybe one or two things you could share that really helped you to make that transition?
Definitely with thrifting, you can build capital quickly and with a really good margin. And then from there, just start attending trade shows, get an eye out for what these people are selling, how the processes go. You don't have to make money on your first order, just get the experience on you, because failure is always the best teacher. My first wholesale order, I ended up losing like $500, but I learned how the process goes, and from there, I've just been having good success from there.
That's so cool, brother. It's been awesome hearing your story. And he's 20 years old, right? 20 years old. So very inspiring. And I want to say right now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out Jerry's Facebook. If you have any questions for him, or you want some one-on-one time consultation, he does help sellers as well. So I will link his Facebook information down below in the description. Also, if you guys have been following my channel, Dan and Eric of the Wholesale Formula, they have a free workshop that actually started the 11th. So if you want to get into that, you can go to raikenprofit.com/free workshop to join that. It's a 5-day online workshop, which will talk to you about their business model. Now, their business model is a little different than Jerry's, but it's been cool hearing your story, because there's always people out there who say there's only one way to do it. There's only one way to private label. There's only one way to thrift. There's only one way to wholesale. That's not true at all. You know, I think based upon our capital situation, our goals, our risk tolerance, and if you guys haven't been able to notice, I've learned this quite quick about Jerry. Jerry has a very high threshold of risk. Wouldn't you say that's true?
Yeah, I have the space, money, and time to risk it all. So I don't mind holding an item for 1 or 2 years.
I love it, man. What's your next move? What's the future of wholesale for you? What's the future of, we had talked a while ago about real estate and whatnot. What's going to be coming? I'm just curious. What's going to be coming around the corner for you, Jerry?
Definitely need to get into real estate, just buy a couple of warehouses and commercial properties. But down here in South Florida, pricing ain't the cheapest. So I still have to build some capital to get started on that.
Very cool, man. Final words of wisdom for the people before we head out. Final tips for the folks who want to make that transition, who want to start wholesale, but maybe they're just nervous. They're on the fence. They might have some limiting beliefs. I'm not smart enough. I don't know if I can do this.
All right. Go out there, risk it, get out of your comfort zone. Don't be worried about failure. Failure is the best teacher. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Money's to be made out there. Go and get it.
I love it. I love it. So if you guys have any more questions, again, Jerry's information will be down below. If you want to hit him up, ask him a question, work together. Again, the free workshop is down below as well. If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. Jerry, appreciate you coming on, brother. And I'm so excited.
Thanks for having me on.
So excited to see what the future has in store for you, because I've personally known you for, what has it been, 4 years now or so?
Yeah, I'm about to enter my fifth year of selling online.
Jeez, man, it's just been really cool watching. You were what, 15? What, 15? No, 15 or 16 when you started.
Yeah, 15 or 16 when I started. So
it's just so inspiring.
A fun ride.
Do you have any other friends who are doing this? Did you inspire any of your friends, or?
I have a friend that's a photographer full time, but his model is very different than what any of us do. Yeah.
Well, it's cool, man. Keep up the great work. I appreciate you coming on, brother, and enjoy sunny Florida. Maybe I'll see you in Miami soon.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
All right. Thanks for coming on. Take care, everybody.
me selling on Amazon experience, and this guy was able to create a business, get one wholesale account, and this was just one wholesale account.
Just one wholesale.
One wholesale account. Like what he did is he created a model to show how to scale a business, and that was something an investor wanted to buy, right?
Wow.
Like he sold his company for $450,000 and is able to redo that process, right? Like now he knows
That's
that
incredible.
whole thing about growing a brand, increasing sales, etc.
Wow.
But the guy created a sellable asset in less than 2 years.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? Steve here, Raiken Profit over at RaikenProfit.com. Coming back to you with another video. I'm here with my good friend Dan Metters, and Dan started years back selling on eBay. He used to, hit up all different types of retail stores, doing retail arbitrage, selling on Amazon, and now, since then, he's done over $22 million in sales with a wholesale business, which is really, really cool. And I know a lot of you guys who are watching are looking for a business that allows you to be able to be making money semi-passively, having products come to you. You're looking to scale your business, have more freedom, make more money. And this is definitely an interesting opportunity. So in this video, what we really wanted to talk about with Dan is the top 10 reasons why you should consider looking into a wholesale business. So Dan, great to have you here, brother. How you doing, man?
No, fantastic. Just excited to be sharing this type of information with your audience, man.
Yeah, we posted that video a couple days ago sharing your story of how you got into wholesale. And man, this guy, he was dealing with so many ups and downs. You were failing left and right. You were trying to figure things out. And people have really enjoyed that video so far, man. So it's awesome to have you again. And people are excited because I promised you guys we're going to shoot a lot more videos. And this is the second one, but we got a lot more coming. So I'm pumped up for this. You think we should just kind of dive into it?
Yeah, absolutely, man.
All right, cool. And before we get into it, you guys got to do us a big favor. If you like these videos, if you want more videos like this, go down below and smash that like button. And also, if you want to learn more about wholesale and product sourcing and how to get started, Dan actually created a free guide. Actually 2 free guides that you can get 100% free, no strings attached. The first one's called Wholesale 101, and it's a whole guide that'll pretty much break down how to get started, answer a lot of your questions. And then secondly, you've got a product sourcing checklist.
Sure. It's, the wholesale guide literally gives you that step-by-step kind of overview of exactly how our model works to help you understand it. And that product sourcing guide, that's the checklist that we go through to make sure we're not making mistakes when we're picking products that we're going to be selling on Amazon. Because
really, we love going through the comments. We read all the comments. We like to answer all the comments. But a lot of the questions you guys are going to have are going to be answered in those free guides. So go through them, dissect them, and then apply it. So yeah, with that being said, let's get into it. The first reason why you should look into a wholesale business, and this is contrary to popular belief or common belief, it's a low barrier to entry. A lot of people think it's really, really hard to get into wholesale. What are your thoughts on that?
No, for sure. I'm pretty sure it at least kept me out, just that myth kept me out of wholesale for at least 6 months, because I had that same feeling of, I'm going to try to place an order and they're going to want a $15,000, $20,000 order. And that's just not the case. The vast majority of brands that we reach out to have a minimum order of $250 to $500.
Really that little?
Yeah. So whenever we're talking to new folks and they're asking that question of, how much money do I need to get started? It's always so much lower than they anticipate, because we feel like anybody can get started with this business model for $2,000. And, when you're looking at a $250 or $500 minimum order, that's the ability to place up to 4 to 8 orders. That's the ability to place a large order and get discounts. So you can actively start building your business for $2,000 or less in the wholesale model.
That's not bad. So, start saving your money now. Start saving those flips, right? When you go to Goodwill and you flip something, you make $150. Or, I went to Goodwill the other day. You wouldn't believe it. I picked up 30 brand new in the box Legos from 5-6 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And I paid anywhere from $12 to $20 each. Man, one of them sold for $350, another sold for $200, $180. So if you ever come across something like that, that's not to brag, but it's to say you're going to find something like that. Put that money aside. Stock it aside for paying your taxes, and then also, stuff it aside for future investments, right?
Sure.
So definitely something great to keep in mind. We've got this whole list, right? We love making lists around here to keep things organized for you. And one of the things that you had mentioned, Dan, was people should get started in wholesale because it's process oriented. What do you mean by that?
Sure. Here's the, like I'd mentioned in that last video, we tried some other models like private label, running a retail store. The problem with those is there's so much individuality, right? I have to be good at creating package design or running ads. Like there's just a lot of different things that are much harder to metric. Whereas in wholesale, it's incredibly simplified, right? Like when we're looking at products, we just do it based on criteria. Like if the product meets these, 3 or 4 criteria, that's a product that we're interested in carrying.
And we have a video that's coming soon about all the criteria. Plus, it's in the checklist, but we're not holding back from you. We got more videos.
Sure. and whenever you think about that, it's like it becomes one of those color by number things, right? And then adding teammates or adding people to your business becomes really easy when it's a process-oriented business.
Interesting. Cool. Number 3, and this is probably one of the number one things I love about this model, and even when I think about bulk buying, or I've been getting into pallets lately, products come to us. We don't have to go out and actively source each individual item, which it's so much fun. I love the treasure hunt. Don't get me wrong. I do it all the time. Taught my mom how to do it. But when you want to scale and grow your business, brother, you got to get products coming to you.
No, I mean, that's the thing is I think eBay, like I said, in college, I loved eBay. And I paid my way through college, having extra money to spend, being able to, afford to actually eat real food and not do the ramen noodle thing through eBay. But the fact of the matter is like eBay's really hard to scale. Like it's, what do I have to do to scale it? I have to buy more products. I have to take more orders. I have to answer more customer questions and then ship more products. Like, it's a vicious cycle where more business is just so much extra strain on you that it's tough, particularly going out there and finding products, right?
Yeah.
Like that was one of the hardest parts for us to scale is, whenever we were doing retail arbitrage, like adding 10 extra hours a week for the entire year netted us an extra $60,000 or $80,000 in sales.
Yeah.
It's just like the amount of leverage it takes to turn that lever is so high in those hands-on models that just the ability to have products coming to you rather than going out and finding it cuts so much out that you're able to invest that time back into your business and just see exponential growth.
Yeah, definitely get their free guide. Like I mentioned, it's called Wholesale 101 because they actually go into a reverse wholesale sourcing, or what is it? Reverse
sourcing wholesale.
Okay, I always reverse it. But go in there and learn about that because they really break down exactly how they do it and how products come to you. Because you might be thinking, well, I don't understand how wholesale works. How do products come to me? They have a strategy that I don't want to spoil it for you, but there's a strategy that they utilize where they contact small to mid-sized companies and they get the products coming to them. You set up deals and stuff. It's really not that complicated, but stick along. We'll definitely dive more into that. But we want to keep this video progressing. Number 4, this is a big one. Guys, how many of you out there, smash the like button right now if this is a problem for you. How many of you are trying to sell particular categories of items or brands of items and you can't? And why can't they?
No, just restrictions, right? Restrictions, gating.
Hate restrictions. Why?
All those dirty words on Amazon. No, I mean, that was whenever we were retail arbitrage, like that became a problem with frozen. Like if you remember the frozen craze.
Those things were freaking flying off the shelves until
just couldn't carry it. Like I mean, you just couldn't stock enough of it. And then one day Amazon turned off the ability to carry it. And that's to me that's when the world changed on Amazon. Right?
I remember when that happened, and we're all like, "What is a restriction? What is?"
Yeah. And I remember we had thousands of dollars in inventory that we just couldn't even sell because we couldn't get through the restrictions with those retail invoices.
Wow.
So like for us, and it's not just gating and restrictions. It's also counterfeit claims, right? Like for us, wholesale provides an insane amount of security because we're getting wholesale we're getting brand owner direct invoices. Like we work directly with the brand themselves to buy our product. So if a customer says, "Hey, your product was counterfeit," guess what? We have that invoice to prove it.
So there's no such thing as restrictions in being gated off because you have the invoice, and that's what Amazon
requires.
So if you guys ever want to try to get gated in a category, there's one of two things that are going to happen. They're either going to instantly approve you, right? Sure. Or they're going to require what's known as an invoice. They're going to ask you a couple questions. They're going to want a legitimate invoice. They don't want to see a picture of a receipt or a handwritten.
Sure. No, I mean they want that professional invoice so that they know your products are coming from a reputable source. So that's the thing is it made us so much more secure, but it also opened up our business to start carrying new awesome products because now it becomes really easy to get ungated, right?
Yeah.
Like if I want to carry clothing, I just start doing wholesale and I'm naturally ungated.
Definitely another benefit. One of the things that I've really adored coming here, we're in Corbin, Kentucky, and I've been learning a lot about your business, talk to your COO, your CFO, your different members of your team, And one of the cool things that I've found regarding your business is it's not 100% passive, but it's semi-passive in a sense, because we're over here at your office, and I'll link up a video down below from a behind-the-scenes tour that we did
that's awesome.
last year when I came in. And I walked in and I was looking for all the products. I was looking for the shelving. I was looking for your forklift. I couldn't find it. Why don't you have any of that stuff here? Where is it? If you're running this multi-million-dollar business, where is it all?
No, I mean, that's the thing about wholesale specifically on Amazon, right? Because the products are coming to us. I don't have to bring them in. I don't have to package them. Like instead, like we utilize a prep center. And what that prep center does is
a prep center.
Right. We work with a brand owner. We buy our products. They send it to a prep center. The prep center prepares it for shipment for Amazon and packages it per Amazon policy.
Yep.
Then they send it directly to Amazon. So we never actually see any of the products.
So that's how it's somewhat semi-passive, because you're putting your upfront work of building the relationship, doing the reverse sourcing wholesale.
Well, right. Even on that end, it's passive because we don't have to touch our products. But like from my end, right? Like you mentioned it, you talked to my CFO, my COO, everything in our company, like I mentioned earlier, is process driven, which meant that I was able to ultimately fire myself from all these positions in the business. So I don't make calls anymore. Like we have a staff member that does that. And you don't start with this kind of stuff on day one.
This is 7-8 years down the road.
Right, but it's something you can grow into. And that I remember it's like, the eBay hustle and how hard you actually have to work. And that wasn't what I wanted in my business. Yeah. Like I wanted a business that I could step away from and be able to do other stuff without it having to shut down or without seeing significant drops in sales and stuff like that. So it is semi-passive. It's not completely passive, but the point is you can make it to have minimal involvement. Like our role in the business, like my day-to-day role is less than an hour a week.
Wow.
Like I just go in, I talk to our product teams, I ask them what's in the pipeline, I look at some financials, and then if everything's looking good, like just from there, it's just spot coaching. Like they'll ask me if they, if something's close to the line or something like that, and that's it. Our business just operates itself.
It's very, very inspiring. I wish you guys were all here right now. I know it'd be a lot of you. We probably couldn't fit you in this. How many square feet is this place?
5,000 square feet.
Holy mackerel, man.
That's cool. Just offices. Like that's the other thing is I remember it. Like we used to have that warehouse, and I just remember like walking around the warehouse, and it's that kind of like dingy, dirty feel, and now it's just like I just love the environment. I love how easy it is to bring on people to contribute to the team.
Right.
Like, they just want to work here.
That's awesome. So you were speaking about finances earlier, and I think that's a great segue into our next point, which is predictable income.
Right.
Who here loves predictable income? Who here loves knowing that the next month you're not only going to make maybe the same amount of money, but maybe even more? Sure. Who hates having a $5,000 month, a $2,000 month, a $10,000 month, a $3,000 month? There's nothing more that drives me crazy than the unpredictable patterns that come along in some of our businesses.
Sure, and that's the thing is in those like retail arbitrage, thrifting models, like you're just buying products with great margin, but you're not necessarily buying consistently selling products.
Or a system. It's not really like a sourcing system. You're hoping that you get lucky.
Right. Effectively that's what it is, and you ultimately do. That's the thing.
You're always typically going to get lucky, but it's going to sway.
Right. Like you buy your product and you have that great margin on it. It may take 2 months to sell it, right?
Yeah.
But you only have one, so it's not a big deal. You're able to sit on that type of inventory. With our model, it's cash in, cash out, right? Like once a month we make a phone call. We know how many units of a product we can sell.
Okay.
Then I know what my margin is on that product. So the next month, guess what I'm able to do? I'm able to figure out exactly how much money I can reinvest and start growing my business. And that's ultimately when, whenever we transitioned to entirely wholesale. Like the previous year, doing a little bit of wholesale and mostly retail arbitrage, we were 1.2 million. But that's the point, like where we caught that fire, right? Like we figured out the model, and then just doing. Just being able to predict our income and invest, knowing what we were going to invest the next month, our business grew 3x in 1 year, from 1.2 to 3.6 million. And it was because instead of wondering what my sales would be, I knew, and I could just find products that fit with the extra profits and could continue to grow and scale. Yeah,
the predictability is just, it is incredible. And another thing that's pretty incredible as well is the scalability factor. And I don't think that's 100% due to wholesale. It's also due to just being on the Amazon platform because of the FBA program, Fulfillment by Amazon. They're fulfilling it, they're picking it, they're packing it, they're dealing with customer service. But with wholesale, it is more scalable in a sense because...
No, I mean, it is because everything is like, again, it goes back to that process oriented, right? Like, here's the thing. I ran a great business as a one-man show doing wholesale. I have a strong business now, a great business with multiple team members. So it's, that's the thing about wholesale is with Amazon, I don't have to scale up my infrastructure. Like I'm able to outsource everything I want and just grow progressively. Like I don't have to invest in a warehouse. I don't have to invest in a forklift. Like I'm able to scale without that massive investment, without those, building a real, a physical company. Instead, Amazon gives me that flexibility, and that's just one of the huge benefits of the FBA system.
Cool, awesome. So if you guys are enjoying this so far, we've probably got about three more reasons why you should consider.
Oh, there's way more than that.
These are
just like Steve said. Give me the top 10 reasons people sell on wholesale, and this was the first 10 that popped into my head.
But if you guys haven't already gotten the Wholesale 101 guide, be sure to grab that. It's free down below, and the product sourcing checklist. But number 8, and I'm not 100% sure what you meant by this. I feel like I could take this a couple different ways, but what do you mean by people should get into wholesale because they could really use their skills that they have? What do you mean by that?
Well, I mean, wholesale is massively flexible, right? Like, and what you can be good at, like maybe you're good at sales, and then guess what? You should be on the phone more. You should be contacting manufacturers. Maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you're good at writing a great listing. Maybe you're good at taking great pictures. But you have the ability to utilize those skills no matter what they are. Like you can go find, let's say that you are a great photographer. Like it's not a skill I have, but if you're good at something like that, guess what you can do? You can specifically look for products on Amazon that have crappy pictures or bad pictures.
I see what you're saying, and you could improve those.
Right. That's something I could go right now, and I could go to a brand owner. I could say, hey, look at your pictures on Amazon. This is how many people see your product on a daily basis. Do you want to be seeing that terrible picture? Like that's what I'm great at. I would love to work with you, get you some amazing pictures on your listing. And then guess what? You're providing a level of value to that manufacturer to give them an incentive to actually work with you.
And that's one of the things that you had mentioned in the guide was go in and look for products that are selling decent or well that have issues with titles, with keywords, with pictures, various things that you guys can learn about, and go in and add value and improve upon it, because just changing up a picture or changing up a description or changing up some type of information in a listing could make a huge dramatic.
Sure, I mean, you got to look at it for what it is. Amazon literally has millions upon millions of people perusing their site on a daily basis. So like one of those changes could get your product in front of an extra 50,000 people immediately.
Yeah.
Just adding a keyword, being able to add pictures that make your product convert better. Like why think about why brands want this.
Yeah.
Like not only does it have the ability to massively increase their sales, right? Like if they're able to find that fine balance of great pictures, great listing, etc., they're able to massively increase sales. But more importantly, like that is the world's biggest billboard for their product.
Yeah.
Like Amazon, more people see their product on Amazon than will ever see it in any store they go to. So having a great Amazon presence is really important to brands.
Yeah. And what's awesome, man, is, and you've been explaining a lot behind the scenes as well, is you mostly work with smaller and mid-sized brands. These are most of these brands people have never heard of.
Sure, mom and pop style brands almost.
They're selling really well. And by you going in and helping to improve, because these guys, they really come from, I've talked to the whole team and stuff, they come from a place of really wanting to add value, make a difference. It's always about a win-win. It's not about you making a bunch of money and then them suffering. You're going in and your number one goal is to add value and make a difference. And this is making a real impact in people's businesses and lives. And a lot of people think the only thing they want is money. Like you might be watching this video and you're like, I'm watching it because all I want is money. And I'm sure you want money, but people not only want money. The 10th point, which we're going to talk about, is freedom. They want freedom, but one thing that people don't realize is they want purpose. They want to feel like they're contributing. They want to feel like they're making a difference. And with your business, it seems like you are really making an impact.
No, I mean, really, we do try to dial into those smaller brands, right? Like, and there's a couple of reasons. Number one, if I'm able to actually help them, I'm able to make changes on their listings or help them add a product to the catalog or something, that can have a huge financial impact on their business.
Yeah.
Like maybe that extra, those listing changes help that product make an extra $250,000 in sales per year.
Jeez. Think
Think about that. That's two employees potentially or so that brand now gets to hire to start growing their brand. So, that's the difference is I feel like we do have an impact. We're able to actually help these brands grow. And I've talked to so many of them that we've dealt with and have started doing these changes, and you wouldn't believe the impact that it actually has.
Yeah.
Like being able to help them grow sales, bring on teammates, just help them understand the platform better, help them, what does a better Amazon listing do?
Yeah.
It ultimately helps them get products into retail stores because they can point to their Amazon listing and say, hey guys, look at the reviews on our listing now. So, it's one of those things of massive impact. And you mentioned everybody wins in these scenarios, right? Like we're able to help the brand grow their sales. We're able to make money. But what else happens? The customer has, instead of wondering what they're going to get, they're able to go to a listing. They're able to buy their product and get that value, right?
Yeah.
Like a perfect listing that helps them understand their product and ultimately make sure that they're making the right decision too. So like literally everybody wins in this scenario when you're able to work with these brands and have some level of impact on how they operate. Yeah,
and you guys can do this as well. You can learn how to do this. This isn't rocket science.
No, it's easy. I mean,
a
couple guys from Kentucky figured it out.
Yeah. So hopefully these videos will be helping you with that. And last but not least is freedom, right? This business, you were saying behind the scenes that it's been able to really not only change your life in a monetary way, but also it's allowed you to have more free time to spend time doing the things that you love.
Sure. No, I mean, it's, think about the reasons when you get into business, right? Like maybe your first time, like maybe when you first get started, it's, I just want to make some extra money to be able to have some, flexibility in my life, like, cover all my bills, and then it turns into, wow, I'd like to take a vacation, right? And then maybe some people get to that step and they're like, you know what? I would love to own my business. But what you don't think about is you don't think about the fact that you don't want to own a job. Like you don't want to chain yourself to a desk. And that's what this business does, is that I don't have to be involved in those day-to-day operations because it's not about my individuality. It's just about, the criteria that we use to make sourcing decisions.
And your systems.
Right. So, whenever what that does is it creates an actual business that operates without me, which gives me freedom in my life. And that's why I ultimately wanted to get into business. Like, whenever I got started, it was, what were the big benefits? And it's, I want to spend more time with my kids. Like last week is a good example. My daughter, I was like, so what's one thing you want to do before we go back to school? Because she went back to school today. And this was like Monday that we had the discussion, like last Monday. And she said, Dad, I'd love to go to Los Angeles.
I thought she was going to say Disney World.
No, she just wanted to go to Los Angeles. She wanted to see the Hollywood sign. She wanted to go to Beverly Hills and just do all the cool touristy stuff. And I was like, really? Is that what you want? And then I have a 4-year-old too. And I was like, what about you, McKenna? And she's like, yeah, I'd love to go to California. So we just booked a flight and we went. We left Thursday and got back Sunday evening.
Wow, that's cool.
But that's what freedom is.
And it ain't cheap out there getting hotels, because when I was over there, I was like, wow.
No, they like to price it up, but they have a lot of stuff to see. But I mean, that's what real freedom is, right? It's like being able to just pack up and go and enjoy the moment.
That's awesome.
And that's I think that's a huge benefit of this model, is that it does provide that scalability, that process-oriented nature to where you can grow yourself out of jobs and give yourself that flexibility to do what you want when you want.
Yeah. And last but not least, this is kind of like a little bonus, because you had Dylan, he had told me about this when we had just come in. You actually taught somebody how to do your wholesale business, and he was telling me that they recently sold their business for $450,000.
Yeah. So let me tell you about that. This is a really cool story.
And that's like a real business. A lot of us eBay sellers and Amazon sellers, we can't sell our business because it's not really like a sellable business.
See, and this is, I think a lot of people are confused about this. Like they feel like they need private label to create a brand, or they don't have a sellable asset. So what Emmerich, the guy's name is Emmerich Manello.
He's been on my channel before. Yeah.
Yep. So here's the progression. Like you got to see like how his business had grown, but I don't know if you talked to him about it.
He was thinking about it. I think he was doing like $700,000 a year, and I think since then he had boosted it up to over $1 million or $1.2 million, and he was profiting around like $2 million or something. I don't remember, but
yeah, he ran it up to where he was generating about $200,000 a year in profit. And bear in mind that this guy got started in 2016.
Yep.
Number one, he really didn't speak English very well at the time. He had just moved to the United States. He didn't have any business experience. He didn't have any selling on Amazon experience. And this guy was able to create a business, get one wholesale account. And this was just one wholesale account.
Just one wholesale.
One wholesale account. Implement the systems for it. He didn't have IP on the brand. He didn't have an exclusivity deal or anything like that. Like what he did is he created a model to show how to scale a business. And that was something an investor wanted to buy, right?
Wow.
Like he sold his company for $450,000 and is able to redo that process, right? Like now he knows
That's
that
incredible.
whole thing about growing a brand, increasing sales, etc.
Wow.
But the guy created a sellable asset in less than 2 years without
Only
any
less than 2 years?
Yeah. Without any real experience, without any selling on
crazy.
Amazon knowledge, and was able to sell his business. Like since then, we actually hired him into our business.
No way.
Yeah, like he's an incredible dude.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's just a phenomenal turn of events. Like it couldn't have happened to a better guy either.
So if that doesn't convince you guys to want to look into starting a wholesale business, I do not know what will. But hopefully that inspired you, motivated you, educated you guys, and got you excited about this. If you want to learn more, stay tuned on the Raiken Profit YouTube channel. The best thing you could probably do is just go down below, download the free Wholesale 101 guide and the product sourcing checklist. You'll be able to go through all that. You'll be able to really get an advantage and a head start on other people or just on yourself making progress. And also, if you get on that email list, I'll send you guys out some more emails of free videos that we're going to be recording.
Not only that, I'm sure it'll send them some other cool content, right?
Yeah, of course, exactly. So with that being said, keep on picking to making that money, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.